it just sort of works, I think, ish. It's
Yeah,
not as
well, I
good as
think
doing it
people
for
understand, don't they? Everybody's used it, haven't they? So,
yeah, exactly.
how's tricks anyway?
Yeah, yeah, all right. Are you all right if we just crack on with this? And we can be going now if you want. And
Yeah,
that's us.
sure. Yeah. Crack on.
Awesome. Folks, welcome back to Bru Time. It's TMF.
Hey, thank you. We haven't spoken for ages, have we?
I know, mate. No, we
in
haven't.
person, as it were.
Yeah, I know we haven't. It's been weird, isn't it? I think it's been a couple of years, isn't it, since we did the last live stream? Is that
Has it
right?
really been that long?
Yours? I
Good
think
grief.
so.
It could be. Yeah, we need to sort that out, don't we? We were at, I was at ABR, as you know, last week with Richie. And one of the questions that came up was, as it always does, is when us lot going to get together and do something again.
Yeah.
And we gave the standard answer, or Richie did, that it's just too bloody hard to get together. But we must sort that out. I mean, if it was 100%. A normal summer, we could have actually got together and ridden somewhere, couldn't we? But the bloody what summer it's been. It's pants, isn't it?
Well, it seems like I was away most of June, and it seems like you had fantastic weather whilst I was away. And I've come back and it started raining again.
I know it's been pants. I don't know who told you we had good weather in June. That's probably your missus trying to make you feel bad, but it was no, it's been rubbish. Because you were out with CMT, weren't you, doing that mega tour?
I was, yeah, the Balkan tour. Yeah, have you done that yet? Have you? Been
I haven't done it. I'd like to do it, and they have asked me, and I would love to do it because those are all countries that I've never been to. But because of my shoulder situation, I've just not been able to do anything long. Gotcha. But yeah, one time I will get there.
Oh, it was. I mean, there was a lot of places I'd never done the Balkans before. So the likes of
what? I thought you'd done everywhere, Bruce.
No, I've been around the world, you know, Andy. Albania, Greece, North Macedonia. Although that'll pee some people off. Some people say it's Macedonia, but whatever. Slovakia.
Yep.
And Bosnia-Herzegovina. I'd never done any of them, so that was pretty awesome to go and do them.
I bet, because you'd done Romania before, hadn't you, in places like that? And down in, where's Dracula from? That part of the world.
Transylvania.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's Romania.
Oh, that's where the transfer garrison is, isn't it? Or am I getting confused?
Yeah, transfer garrison's in the Transylvania sort of. I think it's a district or it's an area of Romania. Yeah, it's basically from there east are all the really good biking. I think are all the good biking roads. Yeah,
awesome. It's amazing, isn't it, how these places sound really exotic, don't they? And I suppose, and they are, I guess. But the fact that you can actually get there under your own steam on your own bike is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And if you don't mind, if you don't mind the mile munching, and certainly if you don't mind just sat on boring motorway for, like a full 20 odd hours, you can ride there in pretty much a day if you wanted.
Amazing,
if you just got on the motorway and head down, arse up and got there, you can be over there. Anyway, do you have a tipple of choice?
I do, actually. I've got two tipples of choice. The first one is slightly mundane, a cup of tea, because I just needed one. But more importantly, I have a little glass of cheeky rosé as it's summertime.
Oh, I see. Fantastic.
And it's Wimbers and all that, isn't it?
It is. I've not even. Is it kicked off? Has it served off yet? Or
I'm not sure. Kicked off is that you're a big tennis fan, obviously, but as much as I am, I believe it has. I pay no attention to sport generally, to be honest. Certainly not tennis particularly. But unfortunately, I can't get absolutely rat-faced with you because I've got to drive to the airport at some godly hour later and pick up my daughter who's coming back from some sunny climb. So
what?
Blooming annoing.
What?
I know. I can't believe I agreed to that. I was only told that earlier. So you agreed weeks ago. I don't remember. Anyway, didn't make the diary.
Maybe taxi.
Well, it's your kids, isn't it? I'm too soft.
How old is she? She's about 43, isn't she?
Well, 24, but yeah. But to be fair, it's a bit of a quid pro quo because it's quite handy that, she does pick me up from the airport occasionally and it does save you a fortune over a taxi, doesn't it?
Yin and yang, eh?
Exactly. Sadly, it's bloody Luton, and since that car park burnt down, it's now, I think, it's bad enough before, wasn't it, to go and pick people up? But at any airport, because they charge you now, don't they, to go into the
they do,
zones. And you get you have to time it by you have to be there within 20 seconds, or they charge you 30 quid, don't they, a minute? And it's a bloody nightmare. So we'll see how that works. I'm not sure. I haven't been to Luton since that car park burnt down. And that's where you used to meet people. So I don't know where you go.
I've been there in a long time.
Best avoided. No offence to anyone who lives in Luton, but grim airport when you come back.
Well, I have a bottle of Madry and a massive this arrived literally about an hour ago. A nice Amazon man knocked on my door with 2 big boxes, and I thought, I've not ordered anything. What's this? And it's my mate Gordon, 2 Bob Rocket. He sent me 2 crates of beer. Thank
Unbelievable.
you very much.
Your viewers are just outrageously kind to you, aren't they?
Fantastic.
I've never been sent any beer in the post. Not that I particularly want to have any. That's amazing. Wow.
So I think it'd be very rude if I didn't do a little toast.
Yeah.
Gordon, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Andy, to your health.
Nice one. Good. Yeah, cheers. And I'm not sure when this is going out, actually. Are we going to
Next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, okay.
Yes.
So we can talk about anything that's happened. So what do you think to the new government then?
Yes. That was a shock.
Yeah, well, not really. I know we have to hedge your bets on that one. I don't know.
I've just voted.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, folks, but just a quick shout out for this week's sponsors, who are, as always, Ultimate Add-ons. Ultimate Add-ons have been backing the podcast for the last few years, and I've been using their products since probably around about 2017, 2018. They specialise in phone holders, so both the mounts that attach to your bike and the protective cases that your phone goes in. Now, these cases are shockproof, they're dustproof, they're the perfect things to put your phone in whilst you're on the bike, and even if you do have a mishap, your phone is nicely protected inside that case. You can still use the phone, you can still use the touchscreen, you can even still use the cameras. They do a wide selection of mounts. I use the ratchet strap, which is actually in their cycle section, but you can pick any one you like for your particular bike or a generic one. It's up to you. Ultimate Add-ons are also doing a number of other accessories, things like action camera mounts. They're also now doing heated grips. They do things like a balaclava, USB, USB-C, power adapters, lots of different things. Head to their website, check out the products, and if you use the code TeapotOne with the number 10, TeapotOne10, then you will get 10% off. A massive thanks to Ultimate Add-ons for all your support. And a massive shout out to all of you over in the clan, over on Patreons, patreon.com/TeapotOne. I literally could not do this full time without your support, folks. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for going that extra mile with your support. You're also the backbone of the Bru Time podcast with all your questions. So keep them coming and we'll go from strength to strength.
What? It's a funny old game, isn't it? My other daughter asked me just now, who did I vote for? And I only learned this morning on the BBC website that apparently if you ask somebody who you voted for, that is a crime, and you can be fined up to £5,000 or 5 years in jail. And I thought, I wonder how many people have been convicted of that one. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. So I said to my daughter, I'll have you know, it's 5 years in jail for asking me that. She said, oh, you're not going to report me?
I never knew that.
Incredible.
How did why?
I don't know. How'd you prove it? I don't know what that's all about. But
you come on a podcast and you say, I voted for.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, though, I'm the classic floating voter. I didn't really know exactly what I was going to vote for until I actually walked in the door, and then I just made a bit of a choice.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this time round, it's all like, what's the least worst option, isn't it?
Right. It literally could be anything, couldn't it? Tomorrow morning, could wake up and I wouldn't be surprised with any result, to be perfectly honest. It's just...
And to be honest, with the things in that, we don't want to be too topical because, of course, it's now next Wednesday, but the stuff that's going on with Biden and Trump at the moment, that's more interesting, isn't it? And I heard today that, again, it probably will be changed by the time you see this podcast or hear it, but this morning they were saying that if Biden says he's not going to stand, then by default it would be Kamala Harris, his vice president, that is the. And then this afternoon they're saying, oh, actually, we've changed our minds. It's likely to be Obama, the Mrs. Obama.
Oh, they're putting her forward now.
Apparently, she's the likely candidate. If he's so, who knows? But I think she would be a brilliant president. Can you imagine that first black female president? How good would that be?
I mean, why? I mean, it's her choice, isn't it? But you would think surely that's your surefire winner. I would imagine it's going to piss a lot of people off. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, let's face it. There's a lot of Trump fans in the US, aren't there? I mean, they do love him there.
Compared to Biden, sheesh.
Well, I mean that. It's not a great choice either way, is it really? But
Jesus, no.
The leader of the Western world, finger on the button. You need pompous business.
I really like Bobby Kennedy. I really like Bobby Kennedy Jr. When I've listened to him, I mean, the big thing to his disadvantage is his voice, isn't it? Which is ridiculous, but he's got that croaky voice because of whatever's happened.
Yeah.
But when you actually listen to the bloke, he actually sounds like an intelligent bloke who knows what he's talking about.
Well,
and you just think,
I'm sure we have all met, contrary to popular belief. I'm sure this is outrageous. I'm sure we have all met intelligent Americans. We know they can do better than Biden and Trump. 100%.
This is all TMF, right, folks?
no,
this is all
I retract that
TMF.
immediately. Well, I've worked throughout when I had a normal job. I worked for the last 20 years for all American tech companies, basically. So all the bosses were always Americans. So I got to work with a lot of Americans. I was going to say Yanks there. Certainly wasn't going to say septics. But I have to say, many or most of them, one or two are a bit tricky, but most of them were very competent people, and I'm sure could run America way better than the current couple who are up for it. But there we go.
Isn't it like 360 odd million people, and that's the two choices they have?
No, I know. I wonder whether it's partly to do with the sort of people that get involved in politics, and there's something to do with the character of those people. Because it's a bit the same here, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, Rishi and Keir. I mean, are they the best we can do in this country? Surely not.
Jeez, I know. Anyway, shall we?
Not like you know, they both seem like nice enough fellas, but you know, I'm sure we could got a bit more competency out there. Anyway,
who knows?
We shall see how it all shakes down.
By the time this podcast comes out, we will know. So,
well, indeed.
I think God help us, whatever the result is, perfectly honest, I've got a feeling it could be a bit of an upset.
Well, possibly.
Wildly the other way.
Well, in all sorts of ways. Well, I don't know. Who knows? Well, I'm old enough to remember the election when, who was it? Kinnock was expected to win. Yeah. And that was, okay, it wasn't like such a landslide type thing as we're into here, potentially. Super majorities and all that. That's a new phrase on me. But everybody thought Kinnock was going to win, then he didn't, did he? So that was, so it can happen. Polls can be hideously wrong. Actually, more often than they're right, aren't they? So we shall see.
True. That seems to be proven more and more, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I say, by the time we get to this next week, then we'll all know. And we'll also, by then, of course, all know what the new GS Adventure looks like.
Yes. Nice segue.
Thank you very much. I've been very busy boy today because, again, bear in mind that, well, we're recording this on Thursday, so just so it makes sense to anyone who's watching it next Wednesday. And I managed to get my hands on, I signed an NDA and managed to get some embargoed press stuff on the new GSA. So I've seen it in all its glory.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I hastily made a video today, written, filmed and edited and already uploaded, ready to go live when it's announced at 4:00 tomorrow, Friday. And well, by the time you see this video, everyone will know, but let's just say, I think my GS days are over.
Really?
Oh my God, Bruce! I tell you, I'm not going to call your version of the GS ugly again. This one is a whole new level. It's unbelievable.
I'm so disappointed.
Honestly, it's unbelievable.
I've seen this sneak snippet vid that they've teased.
Yeah.
And I was told, I have a few sources who've been very accurate with their information so far with the previous GS. And they were saying to me that the GSA is going to be a real harp back to the 1250 styling, very angular, very big and bulky. And then when I looked at that teaser vid, it's like, oh no, they've tried to go even more sweepy and curvy than the 1300 standard.
Well, it's certainly big and bulky. I'll give you that. And, you know, we all said, we want it more Tonka toy. Well, they've definitely gone that way. It's a bit like, I can only describe it as if the Germans have done it kind of literally. So it's a bit like if you asked AI to design the new GSA and you said what you wanted, big, bulky, road presence, Tonka toy, massive, strong, manly, then this is kind of what it would come up with. And you look at it and go, oh my God, you got that so wrong. It's just unbelievable. I don't know if I've ever seen such an ugly motorcycle. Suddenly, Harley Davidson Pan America looks like a beautiful bike. It's unbelievable. Wow. Anyway, by now, of course, you will have all seen it. I hope it's not just me that thinks that, but my video was quite forthright in my opinion. Of course, this is only my opinion of the looks of the bike. I'm sure
it can all change when you see it in the flesh.
I'm sure it will ride absolutely amazingly well. It's got all the right bits in it, and again, I'm not quite sure how NDAs work. I know this is going out afterwards, but
I wouldn't use any of this till this comes out.
I shouldn't
Wednesday.
be talking about it, but it's one or two surprises in the spec, but nothing outrageous. But by my word, quite a bike is all I can say. I couldn't help myself but make a video quickly.
I've seen the pricing as well, assuming what you've been given is the same as what I've got my hands on.
I haven't seen the
And
pricing. I haven't seen the pricing. But in my
okay,
video, one of my little quotes that I said is, as well as very dark glasses, you're going to need very deep pockets for it.
nope, nope,
Really?
not at all. Yeah, not at all. Which leads me to believe I can't believe this is right, but this is.
Where have you got this from then? Because I had no pricing details.
I'm not going into that. Let me little have a. Okay, right. So the basic standard GSA, so that's the one that no one will buy. You know, it's just the absolute rock bottom one from £20,152 sterling. The TE spec, which is what I imagine most people will buy, is from 21,355. That's cheaper than my standard GSTE. That was 21,495 I paid for my standard GST.
Right. And you didn't have any extras like the luggage and stuff for that?
I bought the top box, which cost me, I think, 600 quid, but I bought that after. Literally, I'd paid for the bike, I picked it up, and then I was
very
like,
interesting pricing, isn't it? That's bizarre. How's your top box going, by the way?
Yeah. Shit. Do not buy the new BMW Vario luggage crap.
I tell you what, the top box is the good bit. The side cases are really bad.
It looks great. I mean, it looks great, and the interior light, that's, it's okay, it's a bit snazzy, and it's got a little USB cable there if you want to plug anything in. But it's this little dial thing that engages the electrics. I mean, every time you try and take the top box off and you have to twist that little cap thing and take it off, it never goes back on properly. It's just a bag of poo.
And I found that, plus with the side cases that have the same little attachments, actually getting them on and off. What a faff. I mean, the old Vario cases were bad enough, although in comparison, really easy. But yeah, those side cases, nightmare getting on and off. And there's been a recall on them, hasn't there? I understand, or you can't buy them anymore or something?
Yeah, I think from my limited understanding of that, I think that is something to do with this twisty thing that basically engages the electrical contacts to give you power into the luggage. Same with the top box. I've just taken delivery actually of the new Lone Rider top box. You know, the
is that more conventional sort of aluminium affair?
No. It's typical Lone Rider, big, like, God. What
I'm not sure I'm familiar with their stuff. I've heard of them, but I can't remember what they look like.
It's the big black sort of military-looking bags. It's full of like the webbing attachments that are on it. It's cool. Good. I can't wait to get that on the bike. Actually, I've just got to find the time to get everything bloody fitted. There's lots of stuff. Lots of changes I'm making to my GS just because it's. I tell you what did it, the America trip where I rode the 900 Rally Pro, Triumph 900 Rally Pro. I came back from that, jumped on my 1300 at Heathrow Airport, and it felt like a sports bike because the pegs felt really high and far back, and I never noticed that before. Even jumping from I did that thing with Toro, where I went from 1250 to 1300 and split it over a couple of days. I didn't really notice any of that at all.
Right, interesting.
But having spent time on the Tiger and then jumping back on the 1300, the foot pegs have hacked me off ever since. So Lone Rider, again, so another plug for Lone Rider, but they've sent me their moto pegs. So I've got them to put on. I've got the top case box thing to put on, and I've bought a new exhaust for it as well, a full system, a decat and slip-on. So I bought that, and I'm just hoping it makes the bike a little bit more engaging because it's just not doing it for me.
Really, I'm surprised. I thought you loved the bike. I mean, I must admit, when I had that one for 6 months, the lone one, the Tramontana that I had, I loved riding it. I mean, as a one-up bike to ride, fantastic, faultless, other than one or two little quirks about the, how you get at certain functions. The menu system was just a mystery to me still to this day, whereas the old ones used to be so straightforward. But that was partly because I didn't read the manual, so, I can't, But yeah, I loved it as a riding bike, but I can't remember where we went, where we started with this now, where we're going. But
I was just saying it's not engaging enough for me.
Oh yeah, that's right. But I didn't find I found it quite engaging actually because it was quite sporty. You had to kind of concentrate a bit. I really enjoyed riding it. But the problem with the exhaust thing is, and I don't know if you're one of these people that likes a loud exhaust or not. I mean, I tend to have loud exhaust on my bikes, but when I put a loud exhaust on my old GS, I found touring was just too fatiguing with it, and I had to take it off in the end. And I went back to the standard one because it was just got on your nerves. If you're on your 20-hour motorway stint with a loud pipe, wasn't funny.
Absolutely. That's where I really actually enjoyed that Jekyll and Hyde one, because it had the option to go for the quiet mode for exactly that situation.
Yeah.
And I never ever thought I would like an exhaust to be quieter than the standard one. But that was actually really quite handy. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the Jekyll and Hyde now. I don't know if that's happening or not, but I took mine to Pico's in April. Yep. And just upping the pace a little bit and riding it a little bit more energetically, I could really hear that the engine was just strangled by Euro 5. You know, it couldn't breathe. You could really hear that it was lean and it was struggling to breathe a lot, and it fucked me off. So I Googled decat for the 1300, and there's this Italian company called QD. They're the only ones who do one at the moment. So I bought it. It's now arrived, and I just need to get it on the bike, and I'm hoping that breathes a bit of life into the bike again. And
you need to do a remap as well, or
apparently you don't, but I think I will, because all bikes, all Euro 5, Euro 4 bikes run really lean anyway. But apparently the BMWs are very lean. I've heard that. That from like Jeff at Hilltop and the BHP guys say it. Yep. So I think it probably will need to be tweaked a little bit.
Won't do any harm, will it? Won't do any harm.
And we're also sponsored by the Influencer Store. Now I've got some blurb to read out for them. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea and a design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. Now, all my current merch over at TeapotOne.com, that is all handled by Roger and Charlotte and their family over at the Influencer Store. So thank you for all your support. And lastly, a big shout out to all of you who are either watching a podcast or listening just now on your platform of choice. If you can share with your mates, tell people about the podcast and help spread the word, that really does help. And if you're listening on things like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you can follow and leave a review or rating, 5-star is preferable, of course, then that would be absolutely fan-dabby-dosy. All right, folks, let's get back to the podcast.
It's a funny one, exhaust, isn't it? Because it takes ages. Some you just really gel with, like my old Street Triple was loud, but I loved the sound it made. I think also it's part of the induction noise on those was fantastic. And then the Kawasaki Z900 RS I've got, I changed the exhaust on that recently, or just the headers actually, just basically decatted it. And my word, that's changed a bike that I love the looks of, but again, I just wasn't loving it character-wise because it had none as a 4-cylinder quiet bike. But just making the exhaust loud, and they are loud now, I'm bloody absolutely loving that bike. It's my favourite. When I open the garage door, that's the one that gets ridden. Just because it sounds blooming epic. Like when you have it fully screaming, it's like a Formula One car. I'm that really annoying shit you hear on a Sunday morning that pisses everybody off. But I love it. It's great. It puts a grin on your face.
It's such a visceral thing, though, isn't it? When a bike, and it's the sound of it, it's the look of it, it's the feel of it. Sometimes it's even the smell of it, isn't it? It's like
weirdly putting those headers on the Kawasaki's made it smell good. What's that about? When I start it up, I think, oh, that smells of engineering. Isn't that weird? It's
absolutely odd. I've just had I still got it actually, the Ducati V4S Multistrada. I've got the Grand Tour. I took that away to the Pyrenees a couple of weeks ago, and Simon Weir, he had the rally version, so we jumped on and off them as well. And I tell you what, I mean that it's not as quick as the 1300. I'll tell you that the V4S isn't as rapid as the
I'm surprised.
It's 1300 GS. There were two 1300 GSs on this trip, and both lads I've ridden with before. Me on my GS, them on theirs. And I am normally a quicker rider for sure. On the Ducati, we were like, you go for it, don't you? You know, you try and do the overtake, or you have like head to heads and stuff, and they were peeing all over it. peeing all
That's
over
interesting. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. I mean, it's that new 1300 engine is amazing. Because I
it.
did when I had the GS, the new one, I just did a little trip to Wales just because I thought owed it to BMW to do a longer trip on it. And I met up with a couple of pals that I often ride with. They've each got 1250 GSs, and normally they're faster than I am. I'm basically a slow rider, but on that they claimed they were struggling to keep up with me. They were like,
Wow.
"Bloody hell, that bike is fast!" And
Yeah,
I didn't feel I was doing anything different, but they were definitely struggling to keep. They were getting smaller in my mirrors. So yeah, it's a quick bike now, isn't it? And I wonder whether that's as fun though that is when you get to the twisties and that. I'm just not sure that's where BMW should be going, because it feels a bit like with the new GS. BMW are chasing after the likes of Multistrada and the KTM Super Adventure, whereas the GS has always been the market leader. It's those that should be chasing BMW, not the other way around. So clearly they're trying to address a slightly different market, probably a younger market, makes sense. But I'm not sure, there's such a big base of loyal GS owners. It's a bit like Harleys, isn't it? Whenever they try and change something radical, all the existing Harley riders hate it, and they end up having to go back to what they've always done. And I wonder whether it's a bit like that with the BMW GS. But I don't know how sales are doing. Have you had any insight into sales?
From the people I've spoken to, like the sales staff that I've spoken to, they've all said it's the best seller they've ever had. It's literally they cannot keep up with demand.
Wow, interesting.
But then you also, I mean, if you pay any attention to social media and forums and all this shit, there's just people full of delight at the amount of recalls that are coming forward for the 1300s and saying that, people are abandoning the 1300 in their droves. And I think that's a lot of bullshit.
Well,
I think
no, I imagine
there's a
that's
couple
fake
of people
news, but with new models, there's always a few recalls, aren't there? And particularly with BMWs, that's kind of a known thing. Yeah. But any bike, I mean, I just had a recall on my Honda Goldwing, and it's a Honda, for goodness sake. So,
it happens, doesn't it? It's a brand new bike, literally a brand new bike. So everything's new on that. I don't think there's anything other than the screen, as in the TFT. I don't think there's anything that is from the 1250. Everything else is new, bespoke to the 1300. So they're going to have issues. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we shall see.
Let's not get into that. So, you think you might be on BMW bad books then?
Well, I thought I might be. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, what we do is all about opinion, isn't it? I know that if you're a proper press journo, you tend not to give your opinion; you just give facts. Yeah. But we, as more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not haphazard, but part of what we do is more to do with us as characters and individuals, isn't it? And and it is about
a personal opinion, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So I do give my opinion. I think I don't want to. I'm not here to destroy any business or whatever. It's only a looks thing, and that is subjective. So many people like yourself love the new bike, so that's absolutely fine. I'm not saying I'm right. It just doesn't appeal to me. So I don't think. I think BMW UK is full of sensible people. I don't think they'll hold it against me. It was just my opinion. I wasn't, saying factually anything incorrect. So I don't think that'll be a problem. Anyway, we shall see. But certainly the new GSA has not helped my cause if I'm trying to befriend them. We shall see.
Well, yeah, I mean,
interestingly though, I did just thinking about the sales at the ABR festival. I had I did one of the Q&A things. I think you probably did one last year there. And I asked the audience, and I assumed that the people that came to see my talk, there were a lot of GSA owners or GS owners. So I asked who owns a GS, and probably 60% of the hands went up and said, yep, they own a GS, usual adventure bike rider people. And then I said, out of all of you, who's going to buy a 1300? Not one hand went up. Which I thought was quite interesting. I thought at least a few hands were, but not a single hand went up. So that was interesting, wasn't it? So the whole sales thing, I don't know how we ever find out what sales figures are, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel to me like it's selling as well as the old one did, but we'll see.
Well, who knows, mate? I know I've certainly, that last tour I did Pyrenees, there were loads of 1300s. Loads of 1300s over there, both on the ferry coming back. Yep. Well, not so many coming back, actually. It was quite empty coming back. But on the ferry going, and once we were over there, we saw like a load of 1300s from all over the joint. And when I was doing the Balkan tour, I saw loads of 1300s. Loads of KTMs, Or I'd say more KTMs,
Wow.
but loads of 1300s as well. Yeah.
Well, maybe there's more in Europe then, perhaps. I don't know. But the thing is, what's the alternative? Because if you're into premium adventure bikes, then it's that or the Multistrada or the KTMs, isn't it? Or maybe the Triumph.
Yeah. It's a different, I mean, that they're all different sort of clienteles, aren't they? You know, KTM and Ducati are possibly quite similar, I would say. They both want to be different than a GS. They don't want to be the normal GS wanker. They want something different. They want something more visceral, engaging. Because I do think the major drawback for me of the GS is it's too clinical, it's too good, it's too refined. Yes. I would like it a little bit more, a little bit edgier, a little bit, I don't know, a little bit more bollock tingling. That's something I use all the time in it, but just a little bit more of a little oof in the scrotum. That would be lovely.
It's a bugger, isn't it, for these designers, because they got people like you at the one end, and then you got old codgers like me at the other saying, "Oh, keep it so we can go touring two up." How the hell do you make both parties happy? You're on to a bit of a no-win in the first place, aren't you? So good luck to them all.
Something that's very interesting is I put out a little short the other day on YouTube and on the socials, just asking any V4S Multistrada owners, could they give me their opinion of what ownership is like, as in service cost, reliability, how do the dealers treat you, all this sort of stuff. And I tell you what, contrary to what I assumed I would get, I would say 95%, and I've had a lot of replies across the platforms, 95% have been singing from the rooftops about how good customer care has been.
Really?
And customer service has been with Ducati. Yeah, I was really surprised because I've got a mate who's had horrendous service from Ducati. But
so have I.
Loads of others saying how good, and you're not talking about fair weather riders here. There's lads, people there who've done over 30,000 miles on like 2-3-year-old Multistradas. Yeah. So then they're not garage queens by any stretch of the imagination. They're out there doing it.
I think with the dealers thing, it very much depends on the people that work at the dealer. It doesn't matter who the franchise is. I've been to Triumph dealers that are brilliant. I've been to Ducati dealers that are brilliant. I've been to BMW dealers that are brilliant, and vice versa. It just depends on the people, I think, and maybe the day you catch them. So I think to say that, lots of people say, "Oh, BMW dealers, you always get amazing service." I personally have never felt that with the BMW dealer I use. Quite the opposite, in fact.
So why do you go back to them then?
Say again.
Why do you go back to that dealership then if the service hasn't been?
Well, I'm not going to anymore. I don't want to get into it too much. It's a bit of a live issue, but
received.
But yeah, I'm just going to go elsewhere. I mean, that's what you got to do. And the one I'm going to has been highly recommended to me. It's just a bit further for me to go, which is the pain. But if they're, maybe I'll experience that legendary BMW service there that everybody talks about. Similarly, Ducati. My pal that had a Multistrada, he had terrible service from them. But when I had a Ducati on your bike up near Aylesbury, looked after mine, they couldn't be more helpful. So yeah, just depends, I think, doesn't it? On the
absolutely, definitely. Mate, I am very aware. I only put out on my clan over on Patreon. I only put there that you were coming on. I didn't do the normal socials because. Otherwise we'd be here for a mossy. We'd be here for 7 hours, I'm sure, with questions. So we have a host of questions to get through.
Crack on then. Yeah.
Can we just crack on, see where it takes us? Right, awesome. So again, this is just over for the clan. This is over on Patreon, patreon.com/TeapotOne if you fancy joining. First one, Pete Brewer. Question for both. And the other two from the band of brothers. Here we go, straight out the gate. When are we going to see another Bikes Versus collaboration vid? Keep up the good work. Well,
man, that's
Pete,
a good question.
We always talk about it. We chatted about it right at the start, didn't we?
We need to just get a bloody date in the diary, don't we? I blame Chopsy, actually.
He's mega busy, isn't he?
We're all busy, but he's the one that makes it hard, isn't he? He's the one that says, "Oh, I can't travel," and then you speak to him, and he's off to bloody Germany on a GS launch.
I know,
or he's off to some other thing, freeloading event where he's getting some freebies. He's a devil.
He is the master blagger.
My God.
He's off to blooming Garmisch, isn't he, for the GSA launch this weekend.
Incredible.
I was going to till BMW UK stepped on my toes, but never mind.
Oh, man, let's not go there then.
Yeah, I'll join you on the naughty step, Andy. Anyway, never mind. Pete, it's something we want to do, mate, but it's literally trying to find the time. And what do we do? Because...
well, the trouble is, there's a lot of moving parts. Given we all live, reasonable distance apart, don't we? And if we want to do something involved like we did with the airplane one, it involves lots of planets aligning. We were very lucky that came off, weren't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to do something though, because there's a demand for it, Bruce. We've got to sort this out.
Even if we just meet up and we go for a ride somewhere, that, just something simple would be good, because we've not done that in so long, have we?
No, I agree. In fact, I think the only time we've all been for a ride was with Lyndon, wasn't it, in Toro? I think when we
haven't done that in 4 years, 5 years.
I've been out there for ages. I did see Lyndon at ABR, which was nice. It's his first
he came over, didn't he?
Yeah, that was great to see him. And he was amazed how just the scale of the event and the fact that it was like, he said, I feel connected with an industry that I've never noticed before, sort of thing, that because he feels a bit remote out there, as you would do. So I think he'll be back. Yeah,
definitely. They really have. I was supposed to have Alan on the podcast, actually, and we had a date, we had a time all set up, and then I can't remember what it was. Something happened at my end, and I couldn't do that evening. So we tried to reschedule, and literally just couldn't get it in. I was gutted because I really wanted to chat with Alan, but he's done. Him and the team have done such a good job, haven't they, with the ABR?
It's amazing. One of our pub quiz questions was, when was the first ABR festival? Do you care to have a guess at when that was?
Either 18 or 19.
Yeah, 2018. So it's only 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now they've got 15,000 plus people turning up, and it's like a mega event. I mean, in 6 years, that's a hell of a thing, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
And Alan was very relaxed. We went on the Wednesday, which was technically the day before the VIP thing, because we, again, technically were exhibitors, so we could get in early, which was great. And we scoured around the grounds before it all opened to the public. We managed to find one bar that was open, which is, of course, where all the exhibitors were. And Alan came up there and actually bought me Guinness, which was very nice, and had a good long chat with him. I hadn't really spoken to him before any length. What a nice chap. And how he was so relaxed just before all that was going to happen, I don't know. But it was a good night. Unfortunately, we peaked a bit too soon. In that, Wednesday night, we were absolutely shit-faced by the time we got back to the tin tent. And it was like, oh, God, he hasn't even opened yet. Ridiculous.
Were you crowd surfing again on the main band stage?
That's it.
With no band and no crowd.
That's it. But it felt good. It seemed like the thing to do.
It looked awesome, actually, the ABR this year. I made the decision not to do it this year just because I've done the last three, and I just thought I'll just take a year off, take a week, take a break from it. As it turned out, I had to, because we've got
you got mega trips going off either end, weren't you?
Yeah, there's that, and we're having a load of work done to the house and the garden at the moment. My missus has had to be away, so it's a good job I'm here, basically, because one of us had to be here. So
that's the thing with the ABR thing. It's quite a big commitment. I mean, we went Wednesday, back late Sunday, so it's a lot of days you're out, isn't it?
It is.
Normally I don't do that sort of thing. So because when you're knocking out 2 or 3 videos a week, you just can't take days out of your schedule, can you?
I can't even get one video out at the moment. I have no time to edit.
I mean, I've had a busy day today. I've written, filmed, edited, and uploaded 2 videos today, which is quite a thing, as you know. I mean, it's very hard to do that, and it's been manic all week, and I'm still knackered from that ABR festival. So I think I've made a video a day this week and 2 today. So it's been ridiculous. And that is only because I need to get ahead of the game, because I know I'm going to be away soon for a few days, and you need stuff to go out while you're away,
I mean, I had my son help him edit for the last few months, actually, and he's helped clear a little bit of a backlog from last year.
Yeah, cool.
But he's going away. He's going off traveling now. So it's back to me now. That's and I physically don't have any time to edit at the moment. So it's just.
No. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you got into this because you love touring and riding your bike, and that's what you want to do. But the editing kind of stops you doing that, doesn't it? So I'm the same.
I enjoy editing.
I ride my bikes less now than I ever used to before I was making YouTube videos. It's crazy.
It's trying to find that sweet spot, isn't it? Where you kind of like, I really enjoy editing. I enjoy editing once the initial guff bit is done, chopping out all the chuff, and you end up with like the main ingredients to make your vid, and then I like shaping that and making whatever I'm going to make. The initial bit is just because for the tour stuff, for me, it's a good 2 days of just going through 4 or 5 hours of footage time and time and time again.
That
and
can be
cutting
a
it all
bit
down.
tedious, can't it?
Oh,
I must admit, I find the tour editing the hardest because it's there is so much footage, isn't there?
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know if it's because I tend to use more cameras and stuff, which obviously multiplies the editing task, with the number of cameras you use, isn't it? It's just so hard. You've been away for a week or two, and then you've got at least that, probably twice that, to do the editing.
Yeah.
And then you've got another trip looming, and you've got to keep doing stuff while you're doing all that. It's I mean, it's not a sob story because let's face it, we enjoy doing this game, and it's much better. It's a better job than I had before in terms of enjoyment. But there is a slog aspect to it, isn't there?
Yeah. And you also, that those tour videos, like I really enjoy they don't get the views, so you don't get the financial reward from it, and you don't get the that endorphin hit you get when you see a vid go massive with views. Yeah, you don't get it with tour stuff, do you?
No,
and
it's
if
such
there's
a shame.
3, 4, 5 vids in a tour series, that view line is just going to go down and down and down.
I know. I watched your US tour on the Tiger, and I watched your views, and it followed exactly the same pattern as my Japan one did. Yeah. And the trouble is, as you know, you get into the tour, the videos actually get better as you go on, don't they? Fewer people see them, and by the end of it, you're getting quite slick at doing it, and you're making great videos, but no one ever watches them. How annoying is that?
I've still got 2 vids to come for that American series, folks. I keep getting questions going, did I miss the end of it? And I'm like, no, I haven't edited it. It's coming.
I find if I don't edit quickly after the tour, I kind of forget how it worked and what comes next. So I tend to not allow myself get into that backlog situation because I'd forget what happened on the tour. Yeah. Tricky one.
That's exactly where I am, mate.
The trick is to do the Norley thing and edit as you go, isn't it? But I've never dared.
How does she do that? I just don't get how she does that.
I'm going to attempt to do it. I'm going to attempt to do it next year. I've got a little sojourn to Spain in winter. Basically, I'm fed up with the weather in this country in the summer, so I'm buggering off to Spain. And I said to Karen, if you want to come, you can, but if not, I'll be in Spain. So anyway, I'm taking a bike and I'm taking my laptop and I'm going to make videos Freddie Dobbs style while I'm down there, edit as I go, and hopefully I won't have to make videos before I go to cover the gap. And when I get back, there won't be a big backlog because I will have already made them. So hopefully, I'm going to give it a try and see how that works out. See, it sounds sensible, doesn't it?
I always envisage and I always plan on doing that, but when I get there, I end up meeting people. So in the evenings, you're having dinner with folk, beers, being social. Yeah. And, then it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you're like,
you're not editing then, are you?
I'm not editing now, am I? So it's like,
I think the way to do it would be to have one day on the road, one day editing, one day on the road, one day editing, which means your tour's a lot longer. Yeah. And you've got more accommodation costs and so on. Yeah. But that's probably, I think that's how Norley does it. She basically does a day in a digs doing the work and then the next day on the road.
When I rode around the world, Andrew, what I did was basically once a month, I would just book myself into a motel, a hostel, wherever I could, and I'd book myself in there for 3 or 4 days, and I'd just sit and I'd spend that whole time doing exactly that, just editing the next episode. And
it worked pretty well because I was a massive fan of that tour at the time you were doing it, and although I did kind of miss when you went quiet and thought, what's happened to Bruce? And then you popped up again for a few vids and then you disappeared again. But it was quite good following it sort of in real time, I must say.
Yeah, I would love to do that again. Now, with everything that we've got now, with all the technology and the audio, the mics, the drones, cameras,
so much easier now. Have you moved over to the Osmo Action 4 yet?
I bought one.
Oh yeah,
I bought one thinking this was going to be the savior. Yeah, but I tell you what, I was given that. Well, I was given 2 actually. Yeah. That's the Insta360 Ace Pro.
Right.
So I was given them, and I'm way behind. Insta, if you're watching, I doubt you are, but if you're watching, the vid's coming. But they wanted a vid about 4 months ago, and I haven't done it yet. But everything since the America series has been filmed on the Insta. But I bought this because you were ranting and raving about it, and Dave at Wheelie Good was ranting and raving about it. Sam Vincent's been loads of people. Dog shit.
Really? What's wrong? What makes you say that?
Picture quality is good. Yep. That thing, this mic adapter utterly shite. It moves about all over the place, and I
You
bought
got it
3 of
plugged in,
these.
right? Mine's rock
Yeah.
solid.
I bought 3, and they all wiggle around.
Hang on a second.
The audio,
I've got to have a wiggle on mine now. Hang on a second.
when I hit record, there's like a 2 or 3 second delay where all I hear is camera audio, and then the mic sometimes kicks in, and even then it's clicky and horrible and crap.
Mine couldn't be more solid. What mic are you using? Are you using a DJI mic?
No, the same one I've got in the helmet for all the cameras. I've kept
that was the game changer for me. I really struggled with the audio to start with, getting the right lav mic for the helmet, and it's only when I got the DJI one where it was absolutely worked out the box, and that solved that problem. But there is still that issue with the delay of it picking up the mic. On the first startup with it plugged in, there's a good 10, 15 seconds while it thinks about where's the audio coming from, isn't it? Which is a pain.
No other camera does that.
They must. I'm sure they'll fix that with a firmware thing at some point.
The button, the record button.
Yeah,
it's too flat, and you can I wear really thin gloves.
True, it's quite flat.
That is really quite hard for me to feel.
Yeah,
with gloves, then the LED, the red LED, is tiny. So, like when I look in the wing mirror to see if I'm recording, it's really hard to see, and in a bright day you can't see. This one.
I'm stunned. I've had no issue with that.
The one on the S Pro. It's massive, really easy to see.
On the S Pro, what about the mounting? Because I find the mounting, the clippy thing on here, brilliant.
Exactly the same. It's magnetic, just clips in. Slightly different, so you can't use the same mount for both.
Yeah, but it's just as easy to use.
Yeah, I mean, it just clips into the GoPro standard thing, same as that does.
Fair enough. Let's not go down a camera rat hole. No one's here to watch about cameras.
Well, I think you'll be surprised. I've got a vid coming actually.
Osmo, then. That's the way to go. Don't listen to Bruce. They're brilliant.
Well, I mean,
not that they sponsor me or anything. I bought mine as well, much to my chagrin.
Yeah. I've bought the DJI. I nearly bought 2 of them. I'm glad I didn't. But
I bought 2. I thought I'd have a backup, but this one's never gone wrong, so I've never used one of them. And now I'm hearing there's an Action 5 coming out apparently soon. So
every time, normally when I buy a drone, literally a month later, when I bought the Mini 3 Pro, a month later they brought out the 4. I was like, you fuckers.
That is so annoying. But you kind of accept that happens with technology. As far as I don't use the drone anymore. I just found it so bloody hard to do it legally and so much hassle that I don't bother. Unless are you about to show me a really small one that's like legally under the radar?
Have you seen this?
Nope. Oh my god.
The Hover X1.
Is that the thing that Chopsy had as well a few months back?
It is. I was contacted by them ages ago about one, and I looked and just thought, bag of crap, I'm not having that.
It does look a bit cheapo, to be fair.
Yeah. And then I saw Chopsy's video on it, and I thought, again, a nice bit of kit, but is it any use? And then it was just there in my head. I was like, And then I just impulse Amazon bought it. Yeah. It's brilliant.
But wasn't the picture quality a bit naff on the Chopsy?
No, it's 2K. It's 2K. It's absolutely fine for YouTube. It's not as stable in any kind of wind. It's not as stable as the likes of the DJIs. Right.
And is it under 250 grams?
Yeah, it's 130 grams.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Oh, fantastic.
And the beauty with that is that you can set it so it records the audio off your phone, and it's got some technology, magic, wizardry going on where it will eliminate the sound of the drone from your audio. So when you speak, when you listen to the audio that you've recorded off your phone, almost crystal clear. There's a little bit of digitization there you can hear sometimes,
but good enough.
But it eliminates the drone noise.
Wow, that's very clever, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you just need like a third-person camera, you need another cameraman there. It's fantastic. Yeah. Really good bit of kit. Cool. But it's about 400 quid, so that's a chunk of change.
It is it's quite hefty, isn't it? And also I'm trying now to again make my workflow as easy and efficient as possible. I do everything on the Osmo now, and I'm trying to eliminate, because I've done a bit of an analysis on views you get if you do like 3 cameras on your bike.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
Well, I think you should do this, Bruce, because if you do, like, I sometimes have a 360 camera on the bike to show the sort of riding position when I'm doing a review, say, one on the classic, one on the handlebars, and one on your helmet. So you've got 3 cameras you've got to mix in. Fine, you end up with a nice looking vid, but you get absolutely no more views than if you just have one on your helmet. So I'm doing more and more reviews that's just one camera, and it just makes editing so much easier. And no one ever says, why don't we ever see your face?
Yeah,
for great surprise, that is.
I'm a little bit different in that my number one priority for me is that I want to like what I've produced. I want to like the vid that I've done, and
Yeah. Oh, I love mine.
I have been
They're easy
trying
to
to
make.
simplify stuff and not do as much like editing guff in there that I used to do. And I
Yeah.
got to admit, I haven't got the same passion for it. I don't enjoy it as much. It
Okay,
just
fair enough.
feels like it's meh.
Yeah.
And
I'm always amazed by your editing, Bruce. I've told you before, your editing, it amazes me. It's incredible stuff. But I just think the amount of effort you must put in, diminishing returns and all that. I think there's a sweet spot that's maybe you've gone over that plateau. Maybe I'm the other side of that mountain, but there's somewhere in
well,
between us where it's right.
I appreciate what you're saying, and thank you. That's very nice to hear that you like it and that. But I kind of look at my earlier stuff from say 2018, 2019, 20. I look at that stuff and I know I put a lot more work into the edit, like days and days and days of work into the edit.
Yeah.
And then I tried to just not churn it out, but I really did try to be a bit more basic with stuff.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, it has no real effect on views and stuff, but I haven't got the same. I don't know. It doesn't stir the loins as much.
Well, that's fair enough. That's what keeps you making videos.
Yeah.
Then why not? I'll tell you what. My picture quality is terrible. I
you're
I look
blown
like
out,
I'm
aren't you?
sunburned, and it looks like I've got a really bright light. I'm going to attempt to go with daylight. How's that for an idea? Hang on, let me just open the blind a bit.
No worries. He's very worried about how he looks, isn't he, people?
I just can't be doing with this shot. I look so sunburnt. I'm not really this red in real life. What's going on? What's the time? It's going to get dark at some point, and then you won't see me at all. That'll probably be a much better picture.
8:15.
Yeah, we're all right. Cool.
Yeah. Right,
So
we've done one
another
question, Andy.
Did we
that's
answer
one
that question? I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was now.
I think so, yeah. Next one, Andy. Evening both. Hope this finds you well. A couple of questions, if I may. Andy, what piece of advice do you wish you'd been given, or maybe was given but chose to ignore, that turned out to be valid?
Ooh. Ooh. Use less cameras. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I don't know. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because the thing is, as you know, you sort of learn as you go along, don't you? It doesn't matter what people tell you. You find out yourself what works because everybody has a slightly different style, don't they? You have to find your own style. I mean, everybody knows because the first thing people say is, "Well, just be yourself," and that, of course, is true. But being yourself might mean that you have the way you do things is slightly different to somebody else. So, that's a very good question. I'm not sure I've got an answer for that. Have you?
No, I'm trying to think because I am very stubborn, so I will always forge my own path. Like I will always do things the way I want to do them or think I should do them.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same.
Even if I hear some advice that somebody's telling me and I think that makes sense, I'm still going to do it the way I think, and then at some point we'll probably come back and do it the other way. It's normally what the wife said, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's the usual. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of anything to do with YouTube, or even I can't think of anything outside, like in normal life.
No, it's weird, isn't it? I think you have to like I say, forge your own path and make your own errors and learn from those.
Learn from your own mistakes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this game now is so kind of well understood. If you think, I'm going to have a crack at YouTube, you just have to look at YouTube on how to make videos and what do's and don'ts of how to do it. And you can pick up some pretty good advice. Within an hour, you'll know about the importance of thumbnails and titles and all the rest, and consistency and being yourself, all that stuff. And that stands you in pretty good stead. Then you're just tinkering at the edges, aren't you? And you find out what works for you.
It's interesting with the whole thumbnail thing because I brought on a professional for a while there to do my thumbnails.
Were they the ones did you use them for your America ones? Because they looked, they were amazingly arty, but I'm not sure they worked, did they?
Nope. If anything, they had a detrimental.
Yeah,
they had a detrimental effect on the channel.
Yeah,
the channel was actually on an upward spike. I did the first video for the US series, and everyone they seemed to love the thumbnail, and it went poof. I was like, happy days. And then from the second video onwards, it's like it went up, stalled, and then it's just been nosediving ever since.
Yeah, I noticed you had cracking thumbnails. Those I thought they looked amazing, and I thought it was your son that had done them actually, because it clearly wasn't you.
Yeah, yeah, very true.
But I just think there might have been too much going on. I actually watched a video by Mr. Beast, and he knows how to make a video, doesn't he? I mean, I assume, I've never watched his stuff, but given he's the most popular person on YouTube, he must know what he's doing. And he was saying, basically, just keep them as simple as possible. So keep the background simple, whatever the subject is, make sure that's the focus. And that was basically it. So those ones you did were kind of the opposite of that, whether they were lovely arty pieces, and I'm sure if they're a bit bigger, they would like make a nice picture for the wall. But as a small thumbnail on a phone, you don't necessarily see the detail, do you?
Yeah, that's the sort of feedback. 'Cause I'm not using them now. Basically, you know, I'd paid for like a section, a set number of thumbnails, and then at the end of it, that's exactly the feedback I gave, was just like, they're amazing pieces of art. They would make amazing posters.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
they're proper film quality posters. But with regards to thumbnails, as you said, it's just too much going on. Too much going on.
Yeah. It's almost like the thumbnails have to be a bit noddy to work.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you look at Mr. Beast, they are noddy. They're like childlike, but they clearly work, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like them too childlike, because it just doesn't make your channel feel like it's a bit naff. But
and his demographics totally different to ours as well, though, isn't
well,
it, Andy?
Indeed. But if you look at, I don't know if you watch Carwell, that guy on there, Matt Thingy, the Brummy fella.
No, I mean, I've not. I've heard about it, but
well, it's a massive channel in the automotive sector. He's got millions of subscribers, and his thumbnails are very, very simple and the same vein. But they are a bit too clickbaity for my liking. I mean, his videos aren't clickbaity, but the thumbnails are. And I always feel a bit disingenuous about, you know, having like, you know, you won't believe what happened next and all that sort of thing. Because, you know, you do believe what happened next. And it's never anything very exciting, is it? And it just feels disingenuous to do that. But it seems like that's the way. Oh, hello. What?
I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, go on.
You did something that really hacks me off at the moment.
Oh.
One of your, I think it was either a title or a thumbnail. It was like my honest opinion of, and I think it was something like the 1300.
Right.
That really gets me when people go, my honest opinion of. I'm like, well, were you fucking lying to me before then?
Well, no, I got a lot of comments from people saying, "Do you normally lie?" Then that's true, but it was because I was aware I was about to slag the thing off. Maybe honest was a bad choice of words. I should have said raw or something else. But I regretted that. So wrist
also
slapped. I won't do it again.
But that also works, you know, like you can look at your analytics and that sort of text title, it works.
It does.
When you personalize
sadly.
something and be emotive in it, it works.
Yeah, anyway. It does. It does. It feels wrong though, doesn't it? Anyway, next question.
Yeah. Andy's got another question. He says, which of your bikes is going to make way for Carol's first big bike? And finally, what do you see yourself doing in another 10 years?
Ooh, that's a very, very appropriate question, actually. I'll tell you about that off air in a minute. But the answer to the well, I say off air in a minute. In your case, it'd be off air tomorrow.
But one in the morning, I think.
Yeah, exactly. What bike is what? This whole make way. Which of my bike? What? Carol has a bike. She has a 125. So if and when she passes the test, that's the one that'll be going, and that space will be occupied by something new and much more exciting. So that's
she's going to get a big Harley Ultra Glide. That what she's going to get?
I don't know. I think she's sort of going between sort of, if you're only going to have one bike. I mean, the problem is she can't really fit on any of my bikes other than my Speed Twin. She can't get her feet on the deck, so she could ride the Speed Twin, but a 1200 with a lot of torque as a new as your first big bike, it would have her arms out the sockets. So probably not that wise. But later on, she certainly can ride it. So she's sort of, I keep saying, I think something like a Tiger Sport 660, the sort of, it's got a triple engine, it's got a fairing, you can put a top box on the back. As an all-rounder, as a first bike, I think that's a classic bike to learn your craft on for a year or two. But she bounces between things like that or a Tracer 7, then across to some of the retro bikes because she likes them. But I've already got a garage full of retros, but I like them too. So at the end of the day, it's up to her. But her main issue, like so many women, is she's short. She's only 5'4", and there aren't that many bikes. She can get her feet on the deck. Now, of course, cruisers, you can do that, can't you? But I don't really like cruisers that much. And the ones that women tend to buy, and this might be an outrageous thing to say, and I get into trouble for saying this, but the Rebel 500 and bikes like that seem to be the ones that women often go for. And I hate that Rebel. I think it looks hideous. So I hope Joy from Canary Motorcycle Tours isn't listening.
Just the way to say it,
I know.
Joy's not
That's
going to be
why I
happy about
hesitate
that.
to say it.
It's her
But
baby.
I think Ken there has got one as well. It is a shorty, isn't he?
I like them, Joy.
Yeah, right. So there's a few cruisers like that possibly make sense, but I just don't want them in the garage. So, so I'll see. I've possibly got a solution to my lack of space in the garage. At ABR, I spotted somebody that had this amazing trailer, which was sort of aerodynamic, made of fiberglass, and he had 2 bikes in the back. And I thought, you know what, I could squeeze one of those on the drive. That's another 2 bikes right there stored.
Extend the garage, Andy.
Hey?
Extend the garage.
I can't extend the garage. I haven't got anywhere to extend it to, mate.
Come on.
Well, I could put another story on or go down.
Come on. Yeah, go down.
I tell you, I even looked into that to see how much it would cost to have a basement dug out. I'll tell you, it was so unbelievably expensive. It was like 400 grand or something. How cool would that be, though?
What about going up a level? Put a mezzanine in. Well, just put another level on, actually.
Yeah, that is a tempting thought. I don't know how you get a bike up there, but I could get all the crap out of the garage upstairs and then have more space downstairs.
Bike lift.
Once you get into lifts, it gets expensive again, doesn't it? Man,
your can of beer, Andy. Come on.
You clearly don't know how much YouTubers earn, mate.
I've
made a video on this.
Tell you what, it's a damn sight more than I earn. Tell you that right now.
It's hilarious. I did make a video about how much YouTube pays me, and most people didn't believe me and said, well, how come you fly airplanes and have got all these bikes? It's like, well, I made pretty decent money before I started YouTube. The way to do it is to have money to begin with, and then you can lose it. So, you don't make money doing this game, do you? Don't go in it for the money.
No, 430 quid I think I'm predicted to earn next month.
I know, that's it. It's like somebody was saying to me, I think it was at ABR the other day actually, but I saw that video, but you ignored the fact that, you sell merch and all these other things. And I said, do you know how much I made through merch last month? 15 quid. I mean,
32 quid.
That was a good month.
Yeah, I've just had mine through. 32 quid, I think it was. Way! Are you going to elaborate at all? What do you see yourself doing in the next 10 years, or is this a private conversation?
That's interesting. Just more of the same. I think I'm in the very fortunate position to love doing this game, and I don't. While people keep watching, I'll keep making them. And while I'm healthy enough to ride bikes, I'll continue to do so. So I'm just going to do more of the same until people stop watching. And even if they stop watching, I'll probably still make them. So you're stuck with me, I'm afraid. I'm not planning on any particular changes, other than maybe some new series and some new formats to keep it a bit fresh. I've got a few ideas of things I would like to do.
Ditto.
But I'll just carry on. How about you?
Ditto. Really. I'm lucky in that ad revenue from YouTube. That has never really been. That's never been like an income stream for me. It is an income stream, but you're talking on a good month, 600-700 quid, which is, it's good, but it's never going to pay a mortgage. No, so, exactly. I make my money now. I make a lot of my money from tours, obviously Patreon, that side of stuff. Yeah. Still got a couple of sponsors, but I like where I'm at with my sponsors now. They've been with me for a long time. I like what they do.
I think that's key with sponsors. I think that's key with sponsors. I'm in a similar position. I've only got really 2 main ones, and they're both very good to me in terms of they're not demanding. Yeah. It works for both of us. It's all good. Yeah. What I have had recently, though, which I don't know whether you've thought about doing this, but I have had a couple of paid-for type videos, which I always thought I'm going to avoid doing this. But I've had a couple, and they've been pretty all right. I haven't had loads of negative feedback for doing it. They don't get big views. I didn't expect them to. But the fact is, the people that are paying for them pay for the video, so it doesn't matter about how many views you get. But what I don't want to do is piss off my viewers by doing it too often. Yeah. Similarly, I've done a couple of in video adverts. So there's a company called Car Vertical that I've done a couple for. Well, I tried to make the advert sort of comical, I didn't sort of weave it in so it appeared like it was part of the video, and I made it clearly like it was an advert. I actually said end of part 1, and then there was the advert, and then it was, so I wasn't being disingenuous about it. And again, I expect to get a load of negative feedback, but the only feedback I got was, if you have to do the odd advert, we understand you've got to make a living, crack on. And they're actually pretty lucrative. So that's good.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, is that I'm very picky with any sort of sponsored content that I do. So I've done.
You get a lot of crap offers, don't you?
Oh God, yeah, the inbox is full of it, isn't it?
Oh, it's
But yeah, I mean,
unbelievable what
I don't
some
think there's
people think
anything
you're
wrong with
interested
doing
in.
those. As long, oh, do you want to enable dictation? No, no, thank you. I've
It's
just had something
crazy.
pop up on my screen. Yeah, I've done a couple of them, and yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. But like you said, as long as you're clear that this is an ad, this is
Yeah.
sponsored by such and such or whoever it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and as long as it's partially relevant to motorcycles,
Hmm.
I mean, if or you, I mean, in your case, you could get away with like doing beard oil or beard grooming or something. I would struggle with hair products, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've never wanted my channel to be like just about motorcycles.
Yeah,
I've never wanted. I've never wanted it to be a motorbike channel. I want it to be. I want my channel to be more about touring, about getting out there and doing whatever it is that makes you smile. It just happens to be for me, it's a motorbike, but
yeah,
I
that's handy.
really enjoy. I've done a couple of them, particularly when I was injured for a while and couldn't ride. I
Yeah,
did a couple of just normal vlog style vids, away
yeah,
with the family and doing stuff. And I love doing them. That's the sort of stuff I really enjoy doing. But like, it's hard because everyone has come to my channel because of motorbikes. Same with you. It'd be like if you started doing that sort of stuff and no
I know,
motorbikes featured in it.
I know. It's
So
tricky,
it's
isn't it?
difficult. Yeah,
It is.
but
Well,
I
it's
want
like
to change my channel a wee bit. To be honest, I want to focus on a few other bits and just see what happens.
I think it's a good idea because I do think talking about it's all very well me saying I'm going to keep doing this for the next 10 years, but people do get fed up with the same old stuff, don't they? So you have
Oh
got
yeah.
to change it up a bit. And it's like when you look at the world of television, if there's a popular TV series, take Cheers or something, okay, it's super popular, but it doesn't last forever, does it? It gets like 5
No.
series and then it's binned. So
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I've been doing this now full time, I think it was 2017 when I started. So what's that? 7 years.
Mhm.
That's a long time for people to be watching you, isn't it? All the time, twice a week, whatever. And I'm sure, although I've got a good number of subscribers, I'm sure not everybody watches everything for sure. And there's a churn of people. You get new people that are more enthusiastic, and because the names change on your comments
Yeah.
over time,
Mhm.
don't they? So of course there's that. But you do wonder. You must have a shelf life.
Mhm.
So you got to change it up, do something different because it might just tail off. I mean, I've peaked. I don't know about you, but I've reached saturation level as far as subscribers are concerned. I think I've got all the subscribers I'm going to get in the UK motorcycle
I heard you
world.
saying this. Yeah, you spoken to us about that before. Yeah, I
Yeah,
said this. I said this to you and Chops and Rich when we did a 4-way a while ago in a podcast years ago
yeah,
when it first started. I said
yeah,
this, and I remember you guys saying, "No, we'll always be relevant, and there's plenty of audience out there." But I think what you just said is very accurate in that I do think you've got to change. You've got to keep things fresh. It's like anything in life, isn't it?
definitely.
You do
Yeah,
get
yeah,
stale. And I
yeah,
think when people see, because for a long time, I mean, you still are, don't get me wrong, I'm not meaning this as a diss, but for a long time, you were the pinnacle of UK motovlogging. You were
yeah,
the chief Dalai Lama out there, weren't you? Now there's other people that have similar sort of subs. Some people have got
yeah.
more subs, and there's other
Sure.
channels that are rapidly accelerating at the moment. But
Yeah.
they see what you're doing to be a success and people emulate that. And then before you know
Yes.
it, you end up with a huge swathe of content and channels that are all roughly doing the same thing. And that's when you
That's
need to
right.
change
That's right.
direction a wee bit and maybe
It's
just
just
be a bit
tricky. It's tricky for new people who want to do it, isn't it? I'm
Mm.
so glad we got in when we did because
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, I watched not as much YouTube as I'd like, as I haven't got time, frankly. But occasionally you watch a channel that might only have 5 or 10,000 subscribers, say, and they're brilliant. The videos. You think, why hasn't
Yeah.
this got more?
Yeah.
And it's just frankly because of saturation that there are
Yeah.
so many others doing stuff, isn't it? And if you, like you and I, you've already got a reasonable following, we're the ones that YouTube is going to promote when we put a video out. So lucky old us.
Speak for yourself.
Well, that is
Not
true.
at the
I mean,
moment.
no, they absolutely will. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got a fantastic video and YouTube doesn't promote it, no one's ever going to see it, are they? So I don't know how you get started now. We got in at a reasonable time, I think. If we got in earlier, it'd be even better.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm doing something
look at,
wrong at the moment, tell you that, because God, they're
well, the
eating poo at
trouble with
moment.
it is they keep changing stuff, don't they? So you
Yeah.
never know. Sometimes it's all going well, and then suddenly it stops going well. You think, what the hell's happened now? I haven't changed anything. Something's gone different somewhere. It's
Yeah.
like the revenues, isn't it? They go up and down like a horse draws.
Oh.
It's unbelievable.
Andrew, God.
Oh, I do apologise. We better move on to the next question.
Exactly, yeah. David McCracken. Okay, maybe a slightly contentious question, but if
Great
you
name.
decided to start David McCracken.
Not David McCracken. That's a great name, isn't it? Sounds like a sea creature from the deep.
I was thinking of something else. But if you decided to start YouTubing now instead of in 1943 or whenever it was, do you think you would be as successful as you are now? Well, funny David. I think we've just had a conversation.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's fascinating.
What's
no
your
is the
favorite?
answer.
Exactly, yeah. For all the reasons we've just mentioned. What's your favorite pie filling?
Well, it depends whether you're in a sweet or savoury mood, doesn't it?
Cream, Andrew, cream.
No.
Sorry. I've lowered the tone. I do apologise.
You're outrageous, sir. This is why you don't get many views, mate, because it's filth in your brain all the time. I like, you can't beat a steak and ale, can you?
Oh, yes.
And also, if I'm in a slightly gay mood, then I like a chicken and tarragon. How about that?
You said that.
Well, I think if there's anybody in the BGR community watching,
hold on, he's taking himself even further in.
No, I think they would agree. Chicken and tarragon is the way to go.
Okay.
How about you? Pork pie's good. Good porkin.
Good porking's lovely. A good pork pie is fantastic. A proper pork pie, yes. Steak ale and Stilton.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's not a pie, it's a Cornish pasty, but I'm going to give them a plug. Loaf's Bakery in Penzance. Go.
You know about a pasty. Was this on the big hunt?
No.
Oh, you found another one.
Yes. Right. Sam Vincent actually got in touch with me and said, you need to try this pasty. And the chap who owns, the family that own Loaf's Bakeries, there's a couple of them, Tom, he actually joined the clan and said to me, if you're coming to Penzance, you've got to try one of my pasties because you've never had a pasty like it. So I thought,
there's an offer.
I had a mate of mine.
I would have thought in your case you'd have been down there like a whip it up an aqueduct in a moment. Yeah,
exactly. A mate of mine was having a bit of a tough time.
Not very far away, is it?
It's not. So I said to him, do you fancy a bit of a run? We're going to go to Penzance. So me and him and a couple of other boys, we all jumped on our bikes, met up early one morning down near Brighton, and we rode to Penzance, had a pasty, which was mind-blowing, easily the best pasty I've ever had.
Worth the ride.
Oh, God, yeah. And he also gave us a whole load of cakes and stuff as well. And a coffee on the house.
That sounds like a ride worth doing. What honestly, about the pasty made it so mind-blowing, though? What? I can't... Because I love a pasty, me. And
the pastry... Is that what you call it? That's pastry?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Pastry.
Yeah.
The outside of the pasty it wasn't soggy. It was almost sweet at times. Okay. It was like sweet and savoury.
Oh, a bit like an empanada. Have you ever had one of those?
I've not, but it sounds amazing.
Spanish, yeah. Well, if you go anywhere in Spain, have an empanada, you might find where these pasties are modelled on. But carry on.
Okay. It was crispy at times, and the filling was so tasty. It was a little bit peppery, but not overbearingly peppery. It had proper chunks of meat in it. The veg was lovely. It wasn't like overpowered by anything in particular. It wasn't overpowered by the gravy or the sauce. It wasn't overpowered by the meat or the veg. It was just lovely the way it was all combined together.
You're selling it to me, Bruce. I'm almost, with me dicky shoulders, willing to ride to Penzance just to check this out. I'm
salivating just talking about it.
If you're going to... I do occasionally go down that way. I shall be in touch before I go because I'm definitely going to give that a try. That sounds right up my street.
Loafs. Loaf's Bakery. They're on Instagram and the socials. Check them out. They'll make your mouth water every day.
It is already. I'm bloody starving. I'm on a bit of a diet. One of those would go down really well.
Dieting. Tom, invoices in the post. This has been a sponsored ad.
Yeah, another spot. The way you slipped that in there.
Thank you very much.
I didn't even notice it was an advert. That's brilliant. Let's hope you get posted some of those soon.
Oh God, yeah. I don't care if they arrive and they're a week old, I'll still eat them. David also asked, did Richie Vida ever pay for that trailer he borrowed? Good point.
It was hilarious because when he turned up at ABR, I said, where's the trailer? Because he had no trailer and bike. And he said, I sold it. I went, what? And he said, yeah, 4 times what I bought it for. So, yeah, he got a steal on that, literally, in more ways than one.
Brilliant.
And I'm now thinking of buying another trailer. How about that?
You've been out TMF'd, TMF.
I know. Flipping it. I'm going to buy one of these expensive enclosed trailers to keep my bikes in that looks really cool. And I'll bet you I'll find out the next week Chops has blagged one for free.
Yeah, he will have.
That would really annoy me. I felt for you when he said that recent thing.
Are we allowed to talk about
Bruce
that?
is still paying for his.
No, I've paid mine off now.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Are we allowed to talk about that? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't see why not.
Bugger it. No, nobody watches these videos anyway. So, yeah, Chops he's just got blagged a whole load of Rucker kit from the distributor for Rucker.
You mortgaged yourself for, didn't you? Unbelievable.
Two and a bit grand I spent on mine. Jesus Christ. And I still don't get as much as a bloody like off of Rucker for anything I tag them in. Anyway, never mind.
I'll tell you what, he's doing something right, and we can all learn from Chopsy.
His channel's
something
flying.
About the lad.
Yeah, his channel's flying.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paul Jacques, how's the shoulder? Not being nosy, asking because my left shoulder hurts a lot these days. Is there hope? Have you got a bad shoulder?
Me, yeah, I have. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. It's bloody shite is the answer. In fact, the other one's playing up as well at the moment. But basically, I don't go into my woes, but I've got another operation lined up. I'm seeing the surgeon next week. Yeah, exactly. So that's 3 operations in 6 months and still no improvement. In fact, it's worse now than it's ever been. It's a bloody nightmare. Because it stopped. The real downer with it, there's 2 things. One is I can't sleep very well at night because I just can't get comfortable. But the real killer is I can't do any longer motorbike rides at the moment. And I've had all sorts of plans and tours and things planned. And it's really difficult. So hopefully this next one is going to help. We'll find out in a month or two's time. But
what's the actual issue?
Well, at the moment, the issue is I've got what they call a frozen shoulder, or to give it its technical name, adhesive capsulitis. It's where it's caused by trauma in the shoulder, and the trauma was the previous operation I had, which has caused it. And it's basically you've got this thing called a bit of lining over the ball joint in your shoulder, and it should be like a bit like a condom stretched over the ball joint, and it helps to lubricate the movement. But when you get a frozen shoulder, it goes more like sackcloth, and it means that your shoulder gets gunked up and you can't move it. So, in fact, when I move that arm now, according to the surgeon, all that's moving is my shoulder blade. The shoulder itself is completely stuck. So he goes in there with his knife, he cuts around this capsule 360 degrees, so it's in 2 halves, and then miraculously you can move your shoulder again. So that's the plan. It will fix itself. They always fix themselves over time. It will just get better of its own accord, but it can take up to 10 years, and I haven't got 10 years to wait around till my next bike tour. So anyway, so that's when that, and it's bloody painful. So, you know, the only upside is worse things happen at sea, don't they? I mean, I was whinging away at Carol about it, and she said, at least you've got a bloody shoulder. And I thought, fair point, fair play.
It's true, mate.
There's a lot of people well worse off than me, so I don't like complaining about it. I do complain about it, but I mean, it's not going to kill me, is it? It's just something to whinge about, but it's not like I haven't got terminal disease or something, So be thankful. It does make you realise when you get older, though, doesn't it? And I mean, you're just a wee spring chicken, even though you look ancient. Make the most of it while you feel like you do, Bruce, because I tell you, give it another 10 years and it's all bets are off. And it only gets worse, doesn't it, from there, presumably.
Yeah, obviously I had, the death of a mate of mine last month on tour, and God, he'd literally just retired. I think he'd been retired a week, 2 weeks, nothing. And God, never more has it been put to me about the live your life ethos. It's just
100%. You never know what's around the corner.
He loved that. You know, it's the reason he came on tour with me, is because that live your life thing really struck a chord. And you never know what's around that corner, man.
You don't. You've got to make the most of it.
Yeah. Anyway, right, cheers for that one, Paul. Next one, Mr. Giggles. Looks like he's sat on it in that shot. Too much chili in the... it was the picture I used for you on Patreon. Sorry, yeah. I used an AI-generated picture of you.
Oh, the one where it looked like Bjorn Borg.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And one of you where you're doing your MCN What's in the News bid. One of them. That's cool. So he's...
I tried to pick those news ones I do, because it's a pretty dry production, isn't it? It's just me sat at this very desk.
I believe you get away with that.
It's very hard to come up with the exciting thumbnail, isn't it? And because I've always done the picture of me sitting with MCN, I go, when I'm doing the edit, if ever I pull a funny face or it's like, something at any point, that's what I try and make the thumbnail. So it just amuses me. So yeah, it probably does look like I'm sat on a spike or something. That's the classic one that I'd use.
Actually, speaking of which, let's just check the background, folks.
Actually, it's given me an idea for the next one if I need to.
Yeah.
Talking of backgrounds, I noticed my on-air sign appears to be in mirror writing, where yours is in the right way round. What's going on there?
Yours looks fine to me.
Does it?
Yeah. Oh, I can see it. No problem at all.
That Zoom does. Which side of the screen are my guitars on yours?
They're over your left shoulder, but they're, as I look at it, they're on the right-hand side. But
interesting. I'm looking at a mirror image then.
Oh, okay.
Because it's as if it's a mirror I'm looking at. That's clever. Ooh.
You know, in the settings on Zoom, God, how old do we sound like? In the settings on Zoom, you can mirror it, so it'll flip it back.
I must have done that. I must have done that. I guess it's more natural because when I do that, it looks like I'm in a mirror. But it looks odd to me because that room.
Well, a really shit mime.
Yeah, thanks. Thunderbirds, I go. It looks. It just doesn't look like my room behind me. In fact, my guitars are left-handed. How weird is that? Anyway.
It looks massive. Your little orifice looks huge.
I know, it's amazing what a wide-angle lens does, isn't it? When you sat in here, it filled it.
You've gone all high tech and all your like streaming kit, haven't you? You've got one of those streaming decks and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I don't do much streaming though anymore. Although I did discover recently that new thing. I don't know if you saw. I did a live stream with Chopsy and username Kate. Oh yeah, you couldn't make it. That was why you went on it.
I did watch some of it. I had a little comment on it,
and it was great because you could do live with live guests, and you could have a large number of them. And that was and that didn't involve any of my fancy gadgetry. It was all done in browser. Very clever.
Really,
it didn't cost a bean. Yeah.
What was that with?
I can't remember the name of it, but if you look back at that video, there's the logo in the corner because I didn't pay for it.
Stream Deck or something, is it?
It's got a picture of a duck, I seem to remember. Stream Mallard or something. But it's not called that, but it's something like that.
Is that the one Peaky Biker uses? Because he does a live every Wednesday.
In fact, I was on his chat yesterday.
I saw. Yeah. Good lad.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, you were one of the three watching. Fantastic.
No, I saw on social somebody posted.
Oh, okay.
Up.
You didn't bother to actually watch it. Fair enough.
No, I didn't see that last night. But I've been on it. I've watched some of his ones before. He's a nice lad.
Yeah, I've seen them before. He bumped into me at ABR and said, "Oh, come on my thing." I thought, well, I really should do that because I think helping out another YouTuber is a good thing, isn't it? So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was good. Yeah, but that was the same system as he uses, and honestly, no technology required, no cost involved, just like an hour of familiarization beforehand to see how it works, and you get something that looks really quite good. So I'm quite tempted to pay for it and get rid of that logo, and then you can put your own logo in there and do all sorts of stuff. I love the way that you can just dial people in and out very easily while you're doing it. It's great.
Yeah, I do.
Quite excited doing them live, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't do public lives. I do like the odd live over on Patreon for the clan, and we have I think we've had like 18, 20 odd people all in one. So it's just all of you it can be a bit chaotic at times, but it's just for us. It doesn't go out to the public. It's just for us to sort of sit and have a chat about stuff. Yeah. Anyway, right, let's crack on with some questions. Scott Bauer.
StreamYard, it's called. StreamYard. It's just
StreamYard, that's it. Yeah, that's the one. Scott Bauer, having recently had to suffer watching Andy's dad dancing at ABR, it got me wondering, when you're not vlogging, do you both listen to music when you're on the bike? And if so, what's your perfect track or tracks to listen to?
Interesting. I sense we might have a different answer to this one. So after you, sir.
I have got into country since the America trip. I was getting into country before, but certainly once I was in the States, I just put a Spotify country playlist on, and I just listen. So I've really got into Chris Stapleton and the Crow Boys. They're two young lads from the States who do fucking amazing acoustic music. They do like produce stuff as well, but I prefer their acoustic stuff. Called the Crow Boys, CROWE Boys.
I'll tell you what, country music is the beauty of country is that it's proper music, isn't it? You hear things like these guitars on my wall being played. It's not produced stuff. They are actually musicians. If I let myself, I could definitely get into country music. And I follow a band on YouTube. I don't know if you do. Called the Castellos. They're three girls. They're country music. They're from Georgia. They're only young. My guess is 25, 26. They're absolutely flipping gorgeous, which is how I got into it in the first place. But also they write their own stuff. And in the last 2 years since I've been watching them, or 18 months, they've gone from just being three country farm girls playing their banjo and guitar on a silo thing, with lecherous old gits like me watching, to actually now being in Nashville and having national tours. And in 18 months, it's gone from nothing to massive. It's just brilliant to see, because their success has been great. But yeah, that is the thing about country music. Some of the female artists are very easy on the eye, aren't they?
Such a dirty old man.
Well,
I can't say I've ever noticed, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So I'll give the Crow Boys a miss, and I'll stick with the Castellos. I absolutely like country music.
What do you like then?
Never tell that to bloody Dickie. Jesus, can you imagine? He'll be playing us songs all bloody night.
I miss Dickie. He's having a little bit of a sabbatical at the moment, isn't he? He just
I think he's doing too much decorating. I think that's it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's got a lot going on, isn't he? Yeah,
it was hilarious at ABR on. I think it was Thursday night. We'd had quite a few drinks, to be honest. And
no way.
I was doing a bit of dad dancing with him down to one of the bands during the day, and I'd had 4 Guinness while he'd had 5, right? So for me, I'm already shit-faced after 4. So I leave him for a bit. I don't see him for another 8 hours, by which time I have another 3 Guinness with him, right? He's been consistently drinking throughout that time. So I've seen him have about 9, and while I've gone for 8 hours, he must have had 20 pints at least. And he said, "Oh, don't worry, Andy, I can play piano when I'm pissed." So we were heading towards that teapot where the keyboards are. And his hands were like clubs. He was just banging randomly at the keys, and he just couldn't play a note. It was hilarious. He was absolutely disgusted with himself.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But it was fun. The next night, apparently, I wasn't in there that night, but some other guys showed me some video of him actually playing, and I think he loved it. He got his audience.
Yeah. I've seen some stuff on the socials of him, funnily enough, on a piano playing. He's good though. He makes me sick. I wish I had that talent. He's just
it's great.
He's a talented bloke.
How fantastic
talented
would that be?
Bloke.
Yeah. It's a
tiny
such
cock,
a nasty
but
person.
very talented bloke.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nasty bit of work. You wouldn't want, you wouldn't want to be in a pub with him.
Horrible.
But yeah, but
stamps on puppies, apparently. Stamps on them.
Yeah, ugly fucker as well. Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that.
Not like us. Not like us. Right. Okay. So yours, is that what you listen to on the bike then?
No, that was my different answer. I don't listen to music on the bike for 2 reasons. One, I can't get the tech to work, so I've never. To be honest, I've never tried to. I enjoy. It's weird this, because now Carol has got more into being a passenger and also learned to ride herself. I feel my hobby might be somewhat diluted. But what I love about biking is just being in your own space. Yeah. And I used to love, when I first started off, just jumping on my GS, riding to Scotland. When we crash helmet on, you're in your own world. You have a bit of a chat to the camera, and then in between times, you're just lost in your thoughts, aren't you? I like the sound of the engine, the air, and I just don't want to hear music. And I love music. So I just find it a bit distracting on a bike. I don't really listen to music in the car either. It's just something I don't do. I don't know why. I know lots of people do, but not for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I do. Go. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I've just been sent one of these gadgets that does CarPlay on your GS from a company called Chiggy. And
yeah.
And this is the one that plugs directly into your GS sat-nav holder, so no wiring in necessary. You just plug it in and off it goes. And I have to say, it's flipping brilliant. So I won't be listening to music on it probably, but for things like Waze and stuff, absolutely fantastic.
Is that the Play? So it's not got the cameras, it's just like a big screen?
I don't think it's got the cameras. I'm not interested in those anyway, because I can't be asked to wire them in, frankly. But the idea that it would just plug into the nav mount that's already there and then work with the whiz wheel with no hassle, I thought this sounds too good to be true, but it actually does work. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I bought the Carpuride one, the Carpuride 702.
Yeah, I got sent one of those as well, but it was so big, it just filled. I don't know which one you got, but that one did have the cameras. It was just like, I can't be asked to install it, so I didn't bother in the end.
Oh no, I didn't get cameras on mine. I just got they do a 7-inch one and a 5-inch one, and I bought. They contacted me about providing it, but they were just a bit. Like when they contacted me, they said they wanted a vid within 2 weeks, and I said, well, no, I want to use this for a protracted length of time. I want to use it in all weathers, times, days and night, and I want to properly use it. So I said, I'm away on I've got tours every month, so you're looking at August, maybe September before I get a vid to you. And typically sort of Chinese, they were like, no, it's not acceptable. We need it within 2 weeks. We can maybe do 3. So I said, don't worry about it. I'm not interested. And I just bought one on Amazon. It's like 220 odd quid. Got it, put it in. lasted 2 weeks and the screen's gone. The screen's gone
how
all
annoying.
green now.
Oh,
on
dear.
me. But it's the same. That just plugs straight into the sat-nav cradle.
Oh, right. I've only just
So-
got this one in the last week, so I haven't given it a good test yet. I need to, like I say, give it at least a month of proper use. But yeah.
What
That's
I
no good
found
if you-
as well, in the rain, the raindrops were activating the screen. So it's like I was tapping the screen.
Really?
So
Oh,
screen
my
was
word.
changing all the time. It's really,
Oh,
but
so I've
then
definitely got to ride with it in the rain then.
Yeah, test it in all weathers. Yeah,
That's
and at night it didn't auto dim, so it's really bright at night.
Right.
All
Oh,
little
crikey.
things like that, it's just. So I'm going to do a vid on it anyway because I know they're popular. And I've tried to contact their customer support via Amazon where I bought it, and it's all it does is tell me that because it's outside, I think you had 3 weeks to return it, and because I've been away on trips and stuff, I'm outside that.
Rubbish.
So there's no way of contacting their customer support via Amazon where I bought it. So
that's a reason to not go for that one then.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
But then I also know I've got a mate who has one, and that's the whole point. That's the whole reason I got it, is because he came on one of my tours, and he swears by it. He loves it. It's a great bit of kit, and he's used it for months. But yeah, the one I got was hasn't lasted 2 weeks. But
interesting.
anyway.
Well, so far I've been very impressed, but I haven't, as I say, had it for long. So jury's out on the longevity. We shall see.
Yeah.
But I think it might be because I also tried the new. The BMW official thing, I can't remember what it's called now, communicator or whatever it's called, and I did a little review on that. And that was okay, but it was like 600 plus quid. And I didn't find it, actually, the fonts were so small, it was quite hard to see. And it didn't really work any better than my old Nav 5. I don't know if you ever had one of them. Did you have one of those?
Yeah, I had a Nav 5, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've still got my original Nav 5. It still works. I know a lot of people had trouble with them, but mine's been reliable. I've had it for over 10 years now. It's still going strong. So...
I've always just I've tried loads of different things and phone holders, and obviously I've got the Ultimate Add-ons are a sponsor. I've got their one that I use on bike reviews and stuff. But for the GS, I bought a little phone cradle for 40 odd quid on Amazon. It clips straight into the nav cradle, and it wirelessly charges your phone.
That's great, isn't it?
Just been broke 40 quid. Boom. I use Kali all the time.
Does it have any damping in it so it doesn't bugger up your camera and your phone?
I've used it. I've used it for over 50,000 miles on the GSs, and no issue.
No issue.
Oh, took it to Morocco.
Cool.
Clipped it in over there. Fine. Yeah. Did I have it? Actually, I could be BSing you. I can't remember if I had it in Morocco.
Sounds like it's all right there.
But
I have one of those
I've had
ones.
no issues with it.
Your mate Pete English recommended to me years ago. I saw him at ABR as well briefly. Recommended ages ago before they became popular and Charlie Borman was advertising those. I can't remember what they're called now. Quad lock.
Oh yeah.
Which seems very good. I mean, they're very secure, aren't they? And I thought, oh, this seems well designed and that, but it absolutely mullered one of my phone cameras. So I now. And then when I wrote to them and said, you've mullered me phone camera, they wrote back and said, oh, don't worry, in 2 months' time, we've got a shock absorber version coming.
That's right.
Very late, isn't it?
Yeah,
so I'm sure the shock absorber ones probably work fine, but I'm not going down that route again. I'm keeping my phone well out the way of the bike because it was just a very expensive. Because I just bought a new iPhone. It cost, at the time it was like 1,200 quid or something that was trashed. So you could do without that, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So having one of those little displays, if they turn out that they work and it just does Apple CarPlay wirelessly. That works for me.
But then you have to power your phone. That's the problem I found, is that then I've got to plug my phone in somewhere.
Well, indeed, but again, these days most bikes have a USB port somewhere, don't they? I mean,
but they're not big enough to get your phone. Like my phone, I've got the 15 Pro Max.
Yeah.
So that with a case on, that just fits into the phone cubby hole on the 1300.
Oh yeah, no, that cubby
hole. If I want to
rubbish.
plug it in,
I've got the 13 Max Pro, and mine wouldn't fit in. Yeah, I couldn't get mine in either. Nightmare.
Yeah. Anyway. Right, next one. Debbie Clegg. How you doing, Debbie? Hi, Bruce.
Wow, a female viewer, Bruce. Hi, well done.
Mate,
it's one of your 0.2%.
I think I had the highest, actually, did I not?
Rubbish.
At one
you
point.
made that stat up. I don't believe that for a moment.
Right.
I'm going to check now. Just get your phone out. Tell me what you're on.
Mine is not as big as it used to be.
Here we go.
Neither is my female percentage.
Analytics. Here we go. Let's get it off the audience. Here we go. I need to see.
Where do I go? Audience. Right.
Oh dear, mine's not as good as it used to be either.
Oh God, no, mine's not as good either.
What are you on?
Right. Are you ready?
Yeah, go on.
Let's do it on 3. 1, turn your phone around. 1.
Yeah, but you probably won't be able to see it because it's so bright.
Hang on. 1, 2, 3.
It's so bright you can't see. Oh,
There you go.
what does yours say?
Oh, hang on. There, 5.3%.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, unfortunately, you can't see mine because the screen's so bright, but I'm on 18%.
Of course you are.
Bloody, how have you got 5.3%? That's unbelievable. I've got 3.9.
Because I'm irresistible,
more
Andrew.
attractive.
Because I am no threat to any woman out there. They all look at me and go,
I'm a bit impressed that you managed to get your phone to. I'm going to get a new. Can you see? Oh, actually, you can eventually.
If you hold it still. No, other way. Was it? I can't see what it's saying. 3.9?
Yeah,
3.9%.
Well, I'm just impressed that you could read it. I'm not impressed with my stats. But hang on, this lighting is driving me mad. I'm going to try something else. The daylight thing's failed because daylight's dimming now. Hang on, I'm going to go for maximum lumens. Hang on.
Oh my God!
What about that? Is that better?
You look like a thin Dan Cole. You know, the England front row.
Hang on, I can do it more. Hang on. There's more.
Come here. There's more. You're absolutely obliterating it.
Hey! No, God, it's so hot in here now.
Jeez.
I've got to sort this out.
Andy, don't worry about it. About 5 people watch this podcast.
I can't be doing with low grade. You look beautiful with your lighting. I need to invest in a big diffuser thing like you've got in front of you. Clearly,
spent a lot of time getting this bloody set up with the lights and all that guff.
I'd like to see your camera pointing the other way so we can see what's in front of you.
My office is like, hang on, no, because I'll screw everything up if I move that. My office is horrendous at the moment. Okay. It is absolutely terrible. It's just shite everywhere.
So have you got big lights in front of you, or is it a white wall or a window? What is it?
I have a diffused light here pointing up at the ceiling, and that bounces some light back towards me here. I've got a strip LED over here.
I'll say no more.
2 little portable LEDs at the back just to sort of backlight that. And my mum.
You've gone for it. You watch the lighting videos. Yeah, I need to invest in some. One of those big diffuser things, if I could fit it above the screen, I think the bigger they are, the better, aren't they? I've got a couple in the garage and they're fantastic. Careful. Maybe I should do anything like this in the garage. The lighting in there is great.
Well, my plan was to do something like this in the garage, but the garage is now full of all my wife's
garagey stuff.
Shit. So
well, that's the nature.
Struggle to get any bikes in there. Anyway, Debbie. Hi, Bruce. Hope all's well. Hi, Andy. Great to meet Mrs. Flyer at the ABR. I forgot to say hi to you, TMF. Anywho, Carol is a superstar.
Oh,
so after the
I'm going to have to back her out of my channel. I can tell she's getting too much.
I know. So after the fun and difficulties of keeping Richie Vida in order for the pub quiz, are you now suffering countdown jingle nightmares?
Well, do you remember last year we got the countdown jingle on the pub quiz, didn't we? The man at the desk managed to get it for us.
Yes.
And this man at this desk, he was a slightly cheaper version and he couldn't get the jingle. So we had to sing it. So it wasn't quite the same. So yeah, absolutely. I have got a bit of that.
Nice. Question for Bruce. Will you be going to ABR next year? I probably will. Actually, I probably will.
You got to be there, mate.
I took this year off, and I did feel like I missed it. So yeah, I'll probably go if I'm invited. I'll go next year. But again, it all depends on tours. You know, tours are one of my main money earners, so it'll all depend really. If we've got tours that are scheduled over that point, then I won't be able to do it.
The only issue with ABR, I find, is that because it is in the summer, it's right smack bang in the middle of summer, and it would normally be a time when we would go on holiday somewhere. So it's scuppered that for the last few years. But so every year we say, we won't do it next year, we won't do it next year. But this year, it was so good this year. Even on the last day, we said we're definitely coming back next year. So forget holidays, we'll go to ABR instead.
It's great to see the amount of It's great to see the amount of people who've already booked their ticket. Everyone's on social media and just going, right, booked for next year already.
I know, annoying because my discount code isn't active yet. I did try to get somebody to use TMF5 and apparently it rejected it. So
well,
those early bird offers are very good though. You don't get it cheaper than that, do you? So if you think they're going, now's the time.
Yeah. Says, cheers as ever. Best wishes. Much love, Deb and Ian. Hope you guys are keeping well, guys. To Bob Rocket. Gordon, thank you very much for the beers, pal. Much appreciated. Hi to you both. To Andy, I loved the Japan tour. What a country. And my question is, what was your motivation to get into biking? That's for you.
Well, it just seemed like a bloody good thing to do. I've always liked bikes. I've always liked anything that moves under its own steam, to be honest. Not literally. I'm not into trains particularly. I don't know why. But although I've got nothing against train spotting, if there's any spotters watching, I'm sure Bruce has got a lot of those types watching his channel. But, God, I'm getting down a really bad rat hole here. Let's not go. I love a steam train, me. Anyway, anything that moves under its own motive force is fascinating, isn't it? I particularly like aeroplanes, but it's the same with cars, bikes, anything else. And I can't remember a time when I didn't like motorcycles. So there wasn't really a motivation to get into it because I've always been into them. It's just my mum and dad wouldn't let me have one when I was a kid. And then my first wife wouldn't let me have one when I was younger. And now that same wife, funnily enough, is now learning to ride herself. What's that all about? So, anyway, there we go. When I say my first wife, that is my only wife, by the way.
I was just about to say, were you married before? What? Were you a biker?
I started introducing her as my first wife, and it started to annoy her. So
you'll keep doing it. Excellent.
That's right.
I just say current. My current.
Yeah,
wife.
exactly. That's a better. Yeah, keeps them on their toes.
Were you a biker before you were a pilot, or were you a pilot before you were a biker?
Well, no, I'd certainly ridden motorcycles before I flew, obviously, because, again, even though my parents wouldn't let me have a bike, when I was like 16, 17, my mates had fizzies and we used to go around the fields over the back and through the woods.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you're proper old.
Say again?
You're proper old.
Well, I am. I am very old indeed.
Youngins like us, we you weren't allowed to do that when I was that age.
Well, the thing is, I'm sure you were, but these days you wouldn't really, because kids these days have got no gumption, have they? They've got no, they don't even bloody smoke behind the bike sheds anymore, do they, or anything? They don't drink. What is going on with the youth of today? We were watching Glastonbury the other day, and they were all so well behaved. It's like, I don't know what's happened.
Apart from picking up their own litter, have you seen that meme that's doing the rounds?
No, I haven't. But I did see a thing. No, what? Explain.
Hang on, I'll find it for you. Give me 2 ticks. Basically, someone's put a picture up of Sunday at the ABR once it's all finished.
Yeah.
The camping area.
Yeah.
And Sunday or the last day, the Monday at Glastonbury. And basically, the ABR.
I can imagine the difference.
Is utterly spotless. It's just green fields, and Glastonbury is just a mountain of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see a picture on the BBC website the other day of Glastonbury. There was a sign that said "Take your tents home." Have you seen that? Yeah. And there were just loads of tents under it where people clearly hadn't read it.
There you go. This is off of Pete English's Instagram. Look at the difference.
Isn't that brilliant? Oh, fantastic! Nice work, Pete. Yeah. Well, funny enough, I was talking to one of the people that work at Ragley Hall over the weekend. And she was saying, because they'd actually opened Ragley Hall, the gardens, the rooms to the hall, you could go and have a look around, which they haven't done before. And she said, we don't normally do this for anything that we have, but the ABR Festival is the cleanest and tidiest bunch of people they have. She said, when you lot go, there's nothing left. We absolutely love having bikers here. She said, compared to when we have concerts and things, you lot are spotless. So it was really good to hear that.
Fantastic, folks. Keep that up. That's brilliant.
Picture backs it up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's because we're all old gits and we have a bit of respect for other people's stuff.
Basically, yes. I think
and there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Bit of pride, self-pride. Yeah. Gordon also says, question for you both. I love whiskey. Do you have any favourites? Well, yes, Gordon. Yes, I do, actually.
Funnily enough.
I've got expensive taste with whiskey, I've got to admit. I like a Dalmore. I really like a Dalmore whiskey. It's beautiful. Very smooth. Lovely.
Single malt?
It is a single, yeah. What about yourself?
I'm sad and disgusted to say, no, I don't like whiskey. I can't even tell the difference between, if you gave me a brand in a whiskey, I couldn't tell you which was which. How pathetic is that? I tell you what, I don't like football. I can't tell the difference between brand and whiskey. I'm such a bloody pufter. It's untrue. It's
Jesus.
No, it's just unbelievable. I might as well just turn to cock. It's just gone wrong. I don't know. It's just, I disappoint myself.
How can I use any of this?
I disappoint myself continually with this. How can I not? It's like 3 pints of Guinness and I've added up. What's that about? I mean, for goodness sake, man up is what I say.
Yeah, you need to change that. 3 pints of Guinness. Come on.
Have you never done a yard of Guinness? Guinness is all right because it's not very gassy, and I can do Guinness all right. I can do probably 5 overnight, but that is like a max. If you gave me lager after 2, I want to explode because I'm sure I can't burp. I must have told you about this before.
You have.
And therefore, anything with gas in is not good because I do basically inflate like a giant barrage balloon, and it gets horrible.
I find this hilarious because I can literally belch on demand. I can
Go on,
blurt the
then.
alphabet. I can. Well, what do you want me to say? I'll say it.
If you could belch the Missenden Flyer, that'd be nice. Yeah, bit rubbish towards the end, but nonetheless, very
Thanks very
impressive.
much.
It would sound a bit like one of those people that have had their voice box removed and they have to have some vibrating device put on, which is, if you ever were inflicted with that terrible outcome, you'd be fine, wouldn't you? Because you could just burp your way along.
I could just butt my way through it. Is
That's
there anyone
amazing.
you're not going to offend tonight, do you think?
That is incredible. Possibly not. That is incredible. I have very much got belch envy there. I'd love to do that. My kids do that in my face, and I've never done that in my life. I just would love to do that. They go, "Oh, Dad, it feels so good." I bet it bloody does.
I think we need to make some social media content on me teaching you how to belch.
Look, mate, I'm 57. Do you think I haven't tried to burp by now? I mean, crikey. It ain't going to happen.
I can't believe there's anyone who can't burp. Is that a medical condition?
It's a thing. There was an article, again, on the BBC website a few months back. Apparently, they inject, what's that stuff that you get the trout lips with?
Botox.
Botox, yeah. They inject Botox into your sphincter, in the one that's down, your one that, not that sphincter, the one above your gut.
We have more than one sphincter?
Yeah, you've got at least 3, yeah. You've got the one you're thinking of and enjoy so much, the top one, and then you've got another one. Actually, I've got another.
Hang on, you're the one with the butt plug?
Steady on, old man. Where do you think I got that idea from? Anyway.
It's not the first time you said that.
Anyway, Botox in there, apparently it relaxes the sphincter and allows one to burp. Which so that's then once I get all my other ailments sorted out, I might go down that route and give that a try.
You're getting your money out the NHS or private or wherever it is that you're going.
NHS, yeah. Wow. I don't think the NHS would do that one. I think you'd have to pay for that one. But anyway, although, well, I won't go down. I've got something. I only got this diagnosed 6 months ago. I'm coming across as a right hypochondriac here, isn't it? But I've got something called laryngeal esophagitis, otherwise known as silent reflux. You know, acid reflux that old geezers get when you get heartburn and you have omeprazole to resolve that. These little pills, that they're a blue pill, but not the type you use.
I had omeprazole because I was like, what's the delicate way of saying this? I was having a lot of trouble retaining things coming out of
anal leakage.
Sphincter. Yeah.
Really? You had anal leakage?
Well, no, wow. I've got really bad guts, and I've had really bad guts since I was about 14, like horrendous guts. So sometimes I can eat the same foods like 2 days on the trot. One day I'm absolutely fine. The next day,
you've got the trots.
I've got a proper attack of the others. So it's So they put me on omeprazole for a while, and it fixed it. But I just thought I don't want to be on these forever, so I came off them, and then obviously
tell me about it.
Still have bad guts.
I have to. So anyway, the downside, or maybe the upside, and this might answer that previous question about what I'm doing in 10 years, is the acid from my stomach is now attacking my vocal cords, and eventually I will lose my voice as a result of it. And I've already started to notice that. Yeah, I've had to. When I'm out videoing, occasionally I just can't speak for a bit, and it takes ages for me to get to a point where I can speak again, and it's becoming a bit of a problem. Anyway, so I saw an ear, nose, and throat man about it, and he put me on double omeprazole. I have a thing I have to shove up my nose every time, and it's all bizarre. Anyway, just another of my many foibles. I don't like to talk about it, Bruce, but
Well, do you know what? There's AI these days, Andy, and you can get get AI to do all your vocals. Why don't you start using AI to do all your talking?
That's a very good point. It doesn't fix me bloody throat, does it?
Hey, kids. Today we're talking about...
I think over the years, you might find my channel gets more like that.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Don't mean to make light of your terrible affliction.
We all have our foibles. Again, they ain't going to kill me. But it's not great though when you make half your livelihood out of talking on a camera, is it?
Yeah, but I mean, we'll always find a way, won't we, Andy? We'll find a way. OnlyFans, mate. That's the next one. Anyway, Patrick Collum. Evening to you both. So 2 questions. Firstly, given you both own multiple bikes, I don't.
Yes, you do. You got the GSXR.
I've got the GXR, I suppose. Yeah, it's not on the road yet. Still. What keeps you motivated in riding your various steeds? Well, I've only got one that's on the road, so that's what motivates me. What's the bike I can ride on the road? I'll take that one.
Yeah,
What
well,
about you,
presumably you're
Andy?
motivated because they're bikes that you like. Otherwise, you wouldn't have bought them, would you?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, that's it. The problem I have is because obviously I get quite a lot of loan bikes, I have very little time to ride my own. So, although they're the bikes I really want to ride, I don't ride them as much as I should. And I was saying to you earlier, I ride less now than I did before I was in the YouTube game, which is unbelievable, isn't it, really? You know, when I had a proper job, I would make sure at lunchtime, because I work from home quite a lot, when it got to like 12:30, if I could, I'd nip out for half an hour on my bike and just clear my head, and it was great.
Yeah.
I just don't do that anymore. I don't know why not. No reason why I don't. I'm just seem to be too busy. But it's gutting because when you do ride your own bike, you sort of jump on it and think, oh, yeah, I remember now why I bought this. It's bloody brilliant. So, yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I used to ride every day, commuting every day. And
Exactly.
now it's maybe a couple of days. Well, no, it's not a couple of days a month. When I'm touring, it's at least 1 month a week. 1 week a month, I'm away on my tour, so I can't complain.
No,
Secondly,
that's great. If you know you're away for a week, that's fantastic. I mean, there's no lack of motivation. It's just lack of time.
but you know, first world problems. I miss being at home. I miss being at home. It's such a. But once it gets into tour season, so from like March till October, November, I'm pretty much away. I'm away at least 1 week a month, and more often than not, June, July tend to be months when I'm away for pretty much most of one of those months. I miss being at home. I really do miss being at home.
It's funny you being a traveller as well.
I know.
It's funny that, isn't it? But I absolutely get what you say. We were away too much last year, and we made a conscious decision to not go away as much this year. Because we added it up and we were away something like 112 days of the year we weren't at home, which is ridiculous. It's a third of the year. And we weren't going out our way to not be at home. And I, like you, I quite like being at home as well. And when you're not at home, stuff doesn't get done, does it? So it doesn't look after itself. So there's a balance to be struck here. And I haven't quite found it right yet. Because this year, with the weather being so pants in this country, I wished I'd been away more.
But I very rarely get to ride myself anymore. You know, I don't tour myself anymore, and that's something I really miss. I did that in March in the States, and I loved it. Really made me realize how much I'd missed that, but I loved it. Really loved it. And I'm starting to get that yearning to hit the road again on a big trip, but it's just not feasible at the moment. There's too much going on, so it's not something I can do. But I could see in a couple of years a bigger trip on the horizon.
That would be great, wouldn't it? That would be great. You got to make it happen, though, innit? You know, there's always going to be something that says, "Oh, no, you can't do it because of this, that, the other." Yeah. Very difficult.
Yeah, 100%. You got to focus on it. Say you're going to do it and stick to it. Make it happen.
Yeah, but even just a bloody week riding up to Scotland and around and back would do me. It would recharge your batteries.
Yeah, absolutely. Secondly, not quite money, no object, but is there a bike you haven't owned or have owned that you'd need to own as a bucket list item? Is there a bike that you want as a bucket list item, or you have had?
Have you got any? I'm doing that so I can think while you think.
I really loved riding my Tuono V4 that I had. I loved riding that bike when it worked, when it was all going sweet. It was a fantastic machine. It looked amazing. It rode incredibly well. It sounded probably, I would say, the best sounding bike I've ever owned. Yeah. But it just wasn't reliable.
Because you've owned that.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that,
anything on the market you'd fancy? Put it that way.
Yeah, I've not ridden it, but I know I'm going to love it. Is the new 1390 Super Duke R. The 1290 Super Duke R almost ended up in my garage. And I've got a feeling if I ride the 1390.
They are nice. I'm not a particular KTM fan, but I must admit the Super Duke is an amazing bike, and that is one that would be nice. Yeah. I've got a couple of bikes that I would, if I had room and money enough spare, I would have. And if I do churn, I mean, I'm lucky because I've got to the point where the bikes I've got I actually love, and I can't really think of many others I'd want rather than them. But if I had a bit of extra room, additional ones would be, I love the Ducati Monster. I don't know why. Again, it's back to this me turning into a bit of a gay person, because it's a hairdresser's bike, isn't it? It's a hairdresser's bike, but
the Monster,
I bloody loved it. Hey,
well, I suppose, yeah.
It's because it's lightweight. It sounded lovely with the V twin, and it was fun. It was great. I love that. So that's one I definitely is on the wish list. I rode the Speed 400. In fact, I only went back to Triumph today. I've had that for the last couple of weeks. You know, the little Triumph. That is the best bike I've ridden this year, just for sheer fun, because it's so light and nimble. That was brilliant. I'd have one of those in a heartbeat, and they're only about $4,500. They're brilliant.
Wow.
So one of those I'd have. What else? There was one other bike. I do love the Street Fighter V4, actually. I didn't used to love it, but I do love that bike. It's really grown on me. And what was the other one? There was one other that I thought recently I'm going to have to get one of them before I pop my clogs. Can't remember. But yeah, those at the moment, they're the ones that leap to mind. The Ducati Monster is top of my list. I think that's a lovely, lovely bike. And I still might, if I bin one of my retro bikes, it'll be replaced with one of them, I think. But they're not particularly exotic. I mean, it's not like they're super expensive. There's no reason why I couldn't have one.
They're attainable, aren't they? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
There's no real exotica that I've ever thought, I must have one of them, like, a Bruff Superior or something, the French built ones and stuff, because they're just bits of art, really, aren't they? And some of the really performant, super expensive bikes, like I love a Panigale, but the super Legeras and stuff that come out that are like $40,000 a pop. I just know I couldn't get anything out of that because I'm a road rider, and sports bikes on the roads don't make any sense to it at all. And I remember from when I had my 899 Panigale, which I absolutely loved, but I ended up never riding it because it was so bloody painful to ride. There is a practical aspect, isn't there, to bike ownership?
Yeah. I love the look of the Norton V4. Is it the Cafe one? The naked?
What, the Commando?
No.
The one I rode?
It's the V4. They do the V4 sport fairing one, and they do the unfaired version, and it's the unfaired one that I look at.
Yeah.
You remember the chrome?
Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah, I can't remember
the naked version of that. I just love the look of that bike. I think
I wonder what it rides like, though. I don't think I'll ever find out because Norton aren't friends with me. But
are they not? Well, Chopsy will, because Chopsy was invited to the bloody factory, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I got an invite to go and meet the CEO, but that was after I put out a video that wasn't particularly favourable. So I declined the invitation. I think I might not have come out alive. He may have been Arabic.
I do. Jesus.
Sorry, I
definitely can't use this one. Yeah, I do think the Nortons are some of the most for me. They're some of the most beautiful out there, for sure.
Yeah, I love the looks of Nortons, and I really wanted. It was the Commando, which is their sort of in quotes entry level one that I rode, and I was so looking forward to riding it because it's a retro. Retros are right up my street, and I thought Norton, yeah, this is great, British connection. I love all that, but God, it rode terribly. I thought so.
Is that the new Norton or?
Well, it's a throw over, isn't it, from the old Norton? But they've apparently improved it, 50% new parts or something, and it's supposed to be much better. So goodness knows how bad the old one was. But even things like forgetting the riding, I just didn't get the whole character thing of it. It was too characterful for my liking.
Right.
But just things like the switchgear felt cheap, and the indicators were like off of a cheap Chinese bike they looked, and these are premium machines, so I was really disappointed with it. It was such a shame, and it's weird because I'm the only person that I'm aware of that said all that. Others have picked up things like the indicators, but most people would say I've missed the point. You're supposed to enjoy the character of it. It's the fact that it's like an old British bike and it's supposed to be thumpy, but actually it just rode horribly compared to any Triumph, say, costing way less in a different league. It's very disappointing.
But again, you're not giving a professional, as you said at the start, we don't give professional journalist views on bikes. We give personal opinions on bikes. Yeah, I'll never declare that I know why a bike feels this way or why a bike rides that way. I don't know what half the specs are most of the time, and I just get on the bike and ride it, and it's like,
it's how it makes you feel, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Do I enjoy it or not? Like, what makes me enjoy it?
Yes. Yeah,
the tangible
I completely agree.
parts of it. That's what it is for me. Yeah. I don't care what the CC is. Does it make my bollocks tingle? Like, does it make me scream like a girl when I ride that bike?
That's exactly right. Yeah. And that little Triumph 400 is a great case in point. It's cheap, it's low power, but my God, great fun.
Yeah.
Wonder they're selling so well.
Yeah. Are they? I didn't realize.
Yeah, they're absolutely flying off the shelves. They've been the best-selling bike in Britain for the last 3 or 4 months. They can't make them quick enough. Yeah.
Wow.
As a second
I'd be
bike,
interested in trying that. I might drop Triumph Line if they're talking to me.
Yeah, give one a go. In your case, probably get the Scrambler because it's physically a bit bigger. So it would suit your frame better, but it's still the same 400 engine. Great fun.
Gotcha. Do another round of UK on it. Moist decoy. Evening all. Cheese and crackers or cake?
Oh, that's so easy. It's got to be cake, isn't it?
I do like cheese and crackers.
Well, I like cheese and crackers too. I'm not saying don't ever have them, but Mrs. Flyer's got this hideous habit of, I like a dessert me, and we very rarely have them in this house, but occasionally at weekends we might have a dessert. So it gets to that time of the meal, wonder what's for dessert, and she says cheese and crackers. Big bloody round of, oh, that's not a dessert. That's a course, isn't it? It doesn't count. It's a nightmare.
It's not Christmas. Why are we having cheese and crackers?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cake of choice.
Ooh. I love pretty much any cake, but I don't think you can go far wrong with a bog standard Victoria sponge.
It's a bit beige. It's a bit beige, Andy.
Well, I know. A lot of people have the same opinion, everybody else in my family included, but I love them. Or if you can get one of those lemon drizzles, sorry, my old laryngeal thing's doing. See, can you hear that? I need more blue pills. What were we talking about? Yes.
Cake.
Lemon drizzle, if it's nice and lemony, that's quite hard to beat. Where do you stand on lemon drizzle with little sugary bits on?
I mean, Andy, do I look like anyone? Do I look like a man who's fussy about my cakes?
Well, you've got to have a favourite. I imagine some of them. What about, your beard might be a bit of an issue catching.
My beard's an issue with everything. Absolutely everything. See, I like desserts, obviously, but if there was banoffee pie or a cake, I'm taking banoffee pie. If there's banoffee pie or anything, I'm taking banoffee pie.
Why didn't you say that earlier when we were talking about pies?
Didn't think about it. My mind was in the gutter thinking about other things. So
okay, yeah, cream pies. You were thinking that one. Yeah, that's it.
What are they? Okay, which motorcycle are you most looking forward to or waiting to be released? This is from Moist Decoy again.
What a great name, Moist.
It is.
Brilliant.
Welcome back, by the way, Moist.
For me, it was the GS Adventure, but now having seen it, colossal disappointment all round. What else is on the horizon?
He said that, BMW, not me. He said that.
You wait till you see it, mate. You'll be trust me. You'll be agreeing wholeheartedly.
Oh God.
Can't think of what else is on the horizon that I know of that is going to blow me socks off. What have you got? Anything, Bruce?
No, I really haven't been paying much attention at all to the bike. I know. Like I should. I'm sort of a bike channel, I suppose. Although as much as I don't want to be like a bike channel, I am. But I'm not really that interested. I just if a bike grabs me, I'll ask if I can get it on a test or loan and ride it and see. But I'm not really fussed about trying every bike that's out there, just...
But once you find one that works, and clearly the GS does for you, then you're home and dry, aren't you?
It does. The GS does, but I've always said this. I've always said it. The KTM is my bike. Like, the Super Adventure S is my bike, but it's just... I'm not convinced places that do KTM round me, I'm going to get the same level of service that I currently get from... I'll give them a plug from Group 1 Brighton BMW. That's the one I use. It's 70, almost 80-mile trip each way to go there. But I go there because I get great service. Well, I'm not convinced I'd get the same level of service from any of the KTM dealerships around me.
Really? Have you had any experience with them? What makes you so think that?
With KTM?
Yeah.
I personally haven't, but I have... close friends who have owned KTMs, and I've been to a couple of different places that do KTMs near me, and they've all said no, I wouldn't. In fact, I even know people that work there who say no, don't buy.
Really? It might be down again. It might be down to people. I mean, my local KTM place is in Hemel Hempstead, and it's called the KTM Centre, and I've never owned a KTM, but they're brilliant. I've heard great things about them. Yeah, they seem to be really, really good. Again, I've not owned one, so I don't actually know from an ownership point of view. But whenever I've been there. And I haven't been there for ages, actually. I must get pop in and say hello. Really friendly guys. They seem to be enthusiasts. Lovely showroom. Great stuff. Maybe when your bike's up for renewal, mate, could a KTM be in your future?
It could be. I mean, it was a sort of toss-up, if you like, between the Super Adventure and the 1300, to be perfectly honest with you. And I took the gamble on the 1300 just because I thought it'll do well for the channel. And I've not really done that much content on it, to be fair. It's my own fault. I need to do a lot more content on it. And I do like it. I do like the bike. It is fast as hell, and it's a great bike, but it's currently in the stock setup. it's just not got the engagement levels that I'm looking for. I need a few tweaks.
Really interesting you say that. On the KTMs, where do you stand on that new lighting arrangement they've got that looks like it's kind of been in a road accident?
I genuinely don't care. I just
Right,
like
fair
on the GS, I don't really care because I'm never going to see it, so I'm not that fussed. It's like, what's it like to ride? I'm really not that fussed. I don't find it repulsive, so it doesn't put me off on
That's
either
the main
bike.
thing. Yeah. Well, wait till you see the GSA.
I've seen what are the wings? Why has it got like wing things? Are they like?
I wish it would fly away. I don't know. I don't know why that. I don't know what the purpose of those is. It's very.
It
strange.
looks like a
clearly
fat
they're crash
jet
bars,
ski.
but they are poking out a long way, aren't they?
Somebody
Maybe
pointed
it's to
this
stop
out
it falling
to me.
over too far. Perhaps it's like an anti-topple thing.
Someone said to me, it looks like a fat jet ski. And as soon as they said it, I was like, Jesus, yeah, it does. It's like a Weeble jet ski.
Yeah, I quite like jet skis. They look pretty good, don't they? Anyway, you shall see very soon.
Yes, I will. Okay, just for that one, Moist Decoy. Next one, SB97. 3 questions, Bruce. 1, what type of comments most annoys you when you put all the efforts into the content on your channel?
The ones that say that video was shite.
Do you know the ones that really irk me are the ones that turn round and say you're bought and paid for? Like if you
that is annoying. That is annoying.
If you give a positive opinion on something and people turn around and just say you bought and paid for that, it really fucks me off because I'm anything but. I have turned down so many fucking sponsors and sponsored content. I just that hacks me off.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot about that. I do get a few of those. I get called a shill quite often, which is I don't really know what one of them is. Well, I think it's somebody that's been paid off. And again, I'm very particular about the stuff that I accept payment for. I have got some sponsors, but I'm very obvious about those up front. It says it's sponsored by, and always put that paid promotion thing up, which basically means I've got sponsors for the channel, not that I'm trying to promote something on it. So yeah, that I agree. That does hack me off. Or just some people are just very few, but I mean, some are just downright rude, aren't they? Or really offensive. It depends on the mood you're in on the day as to how you react to them. Sometimes it's really it just plays on your mind all day. Other days you just ban them and move on, don't you, and forget about it. Yeah. Some days I have a bit of sport with them and correct the spellings, which really annoys them. Sometimes I pin the
and
comments.
the grammar. Yeah.
Sometimes I pin them so that I can let people that think similarly about their comment as I do actually go in and say what they think. That works quite well.
I do that often as well. Yeah.
It works. That works well. It saves you the hassle of having to argue with them, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
But I guess the right thing to do really is just ban them, and that's that. I think that's what Chopsy does. If he sees one, he just bans them. End off. You never have to worry about it again, do you? That's the beauty of it. I mean, we've got that power, haven't we? We can just stop them commenting again. Yeah. It's not hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Question 2. I've seen several videos and heard voice content from pilots, fixed wing and rotary, dealing with an emergency engine failure or aircraft malfunction, etc. They always seem so calm and controlled. On a bike, all my close shaves and incidents involve a holy shit, a nanosecond, or a oh no, few type affair. As a pilot and bike rider, what's the worst situation you've faced in both, and does managing one discipline help you manage the other?
Well, that's a great question. Brilliant.
It is.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it in those terms before, but I completely agree with him about the oh shit, oh no type thing on a bike. I think the fundamental difference between flying and biking is, sorry, there goes the voice again. Things happen quickly on a motorcycle, don't they? So you don't have a lot of time to react. I mean, things can happen quickly in an airplane, but generally they don't because you're in a big sky. And unless a lot of wing falls off, which is pretty unlikely, although it can happen in certain circumstances, things don't happen suddenly. Or even if the engine quits, I mean, normally you can see in the instruments that there's a degradation going on, and then even when it does quit, in a small airplane like the type I fly, you've got plenty of time to glide and think about your impending death. So
that's just a way to say it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a fundamental difference there. There's definitely oh shit moments on the bike. And I've had tricky moments on both modes of transport, and they always go in the old experience bucket, don't they? And hopefully you don't make that mistake again. So the big difference with biking and flying again, as far as the danger aspect's concerned, is with both of them, they're quite well understood what the dangerous things are, aren't they? So we know that on motorcycles, motorways are more safe than B roads. We know that most accidents happen on corners and also on your own. You know, it's not often
close
doesn't
to
involve
home.
other vehicles. Yeah, and also T-boning type accidents. So we know those all happen. And mostly, no matter how safe you are as a rider, you can't account for other road users, can you? So there's always that unknown factor that somebody else is going to do something silly, and you're going to get the wrong end of it. So there's that, and you don't tend to have that so much in flying. In flying, most things that happen, most bad incidents, are due to an error that the pilot has made. Which I don't think is the case. Well, maybe it is a bit in biking if you're being an idiot, but let's just assume you're not an idiot on a bike or an idiot in the plane. In the airplane, it's things like continuing to fly into bad weather, flying in high terrain, in low visibility. I mean, these are things that sound kind of obvious, but that you end up in those situations. Stuff like that, or running out of fuel. Most of these things could be mitigated against, if you make sure you've got enough fuel before you leave and you've got, enough in reserve and you've got somewhere to divert to, that's never going to get you. If you don't fly in bad weather, or if the forecast is looking bad, I have this saying when I'm flying, if in doubt, there's no doubt. So if I have any doubt about any aspect of it, I just don't go flying.
Bike versus plane, wasn't it? Remember when you saw that cable?
Yeah, I think it probably did come up in that one. Thank goodness Richie saw the dodgy pipe. And we did press on in that case, but it was only after we had advice from engineers and we learned what the pipe did, and we realised it wasn't actually that important. It's interesting. I've already forgotten what the question was.
He thought about the views, people. He thought about the views. Let's go anyway. Let's just do it.
But funny enough, a lot of pilots are bikers. I have noticed that, because whenever I park my bike at the airfield, I have a lot of pilots come over and say, "Oh, I've got this, that, or the other." So it seems there's a lot of similarities between the two. I like the idea that in the plane you can feel the elements, you can feel the way the airplane's moving, and you can feel it against the ailerons. You're battling against the elements. On the bike, of course, you can feel the environment around you, the wind rushing by. On the bike, there's skill of controlling the bike around a corner, whatever. In the plane, there's skill of controlling the plane, landing it, and so on. There's the technical aspects of it, physically controlling it. There's the technical aspects of the machine itself. All those are kind of similarities. So I see why both have similar people, liking both things. But as far as have I had near misses in each? Yes, the most recent bike one was I did actually a tour recently in Wales. It was a sort of a test really to see how I got on with my dodgy shoulders on the Goldwing with Carol on the back. And it was a couple of weeks ago. We went to Wales for 4 or 5 days. Had a fantastic time. I filmed one day of it, but the rest of it I thought I'm just going to enjoy being on the bike.
Yeah, nice.
I had such a good time. It was brilliant.
Good.
Except for this one time when I went round a corner on a Welsh road, the ones with a sort of bit of a drop off at the side, bit of granite on the right. I was a little bit over to the right more than I should have been. Car coming around was a bit over to the right than each. So, it was close. And I how time slows down when in those situations. And I could see a little gap that I had to go for around this bend. And I thought, that is my only way out of this. I thought, this is it. I'm about to die and I'm going to kill my wife with me. And everything slows down. I guess it's as the adrenaline kicks in and you get more aware of your environment, don't you? And somehow I made this gap and got around the corner. But my heart was like, honestly, I thought, that was as close as I ever want it to be. And it really puts the frighteners on you. I was shaking to my core. Carol barely noticed there was an issue, thank goodness. But that was a close one, I tell you. And then there was another incident similar to that years ago. That was probably the worst one. But there was one when I was going to cross a roundabout in Aylesbury, and a big juggernaut was coming in on the on the left-hand lane coming in, and just didn't see me at all. So I was going straight over. I saw him. I thought he was slowing down, but he failed to slow down. And how I didn't hit him, I don't know. And I was so physically shaken. I just got away, and I had to pull over and take a moment to gather my thoughts. And the truck actually stopped to ask if I was all right, even though he hadn't hit me. He clearly knew.
Wow.
So you do get those things on bikes, don't you? Just fingers crossed I got away with those. Let's hope that continues to be the case. In the plane, incidents have really been just about bad weather again. And again, this is where you learn experience. I was flying over the Pyrenees. I'd just flown back from Mallorca. I'm sure I've told you this story. I'd just flown back from Mallorca. And when you fly back from there's a big sea crossing. You basically go from Palma to Barcelona, and it's about 100 nautical mile sea crossing. So for about 20 minutes, there's a point in the single engine plane where you can't see land at all. It's just sea. And when you've only got one engine and it's like 1930s technology, you are listening to that engine very closely.
Yeah.
You're zooming out on the GPS so you can see land on that. That gives you a full sense of security. So once you've crossed that bit of sea, you think, oh, we're home and dry. We've done the tricky bit. But it was in the middle of July. It was a really hot day. We went over the Pyrenees, and of course you get a lot of turbulence over mountains. Yeah. And we got into this turbulence, and the plane was uncontrollable. You could go full right on the controls, and the plane would still be diving to the left. It was
What?
absolute nightmare. At one point, we went inverted. We had a guy in the back of the plane who wasn't a pilot.
Inverted.
Yeah. So there's a guy in the back of the plane who wasn't a pilot who kept bouncing his head off the back. He must have been thinking, what the hell is going on here? But anyway, we got away with it. We managed to turn the aircraft round and go back the way we came and got out of this really turbulent mass. And again, when we did eventually land at a place called Carcassonne, we got out of the plane. It was like the Pope. We kissed the ground because we couldn't believe it. When we went to the bar in the hotel, it turned out the barman in the hotel was also a pilot. He said, we never fly at this time during the day. It's too damn dangerous. The plane will end up on its back. And we're like, no shit. So that was probably the worst. Oh, I had a similar incident, actually. I could go on about this forever now. You've started me off. A similar instance once. I was on a trip in the US with Carol. I was a relatively new pilot. I was in a Cessna that was a brand new one. I'd rented it off this guy who didn't really want to rent me his brand new plane. We were over at Augusta in Georgia when the Open Golf was on. I couldn't get any radio service because they're all talking to private jets. They weren't interested in us. But it was a really turbulent day. It was so turbulent I couldn't get my hand on the radio to change frequencies. It was that bumpy. But the endurance in the Cessna is about 5 hours, and I've been flying it for 5.5. So this is a fuel issue. So I couldn't speak to anyone on the radio to try and get a divert, and because the sky was full of big jets, and the fuel was just knocking on the stops, and I thought, this is it. So again, another one for the experience bucket. Don't fly in those sort of conditions when it's really hot, and that makes sure you got enough fuel on board. So, yeah, these are the things we learn from, aren't they? You just got to hope the old experience bucket fills up before the luck bucket empties.
Mental note, do not get in a flight on a plane with Andy.
Well, I've learned. I'm still here. I've been flying for 30 plus years. I think, actually, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I think I'm a better pilot than I am biker. I feel safer in a plane than on a bike when I'm in control.
Andy, I genuinely hope I never need to do this. But if anything does ever happen, I'm going to cut this out. This is going to be a little real. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, you never know, do you? Like we said earlier, what's around the corner. So
you don't.
Touch wood and just be careful out there.
Have you seen the clip on the socials of the two chaps in a helicopter and he has engine failure? He's like, I think he's up in Alaska or something. It's in the States or Canada. Forgive me if it's Canada. But they're up and above like snowy mountains and he has total engine failure. And he's got his student next to him. And the instructor is just like, right, calm as you like. Yeah, okay. So we have like catastrophic engine failure, doing this, going to be doing that. Okay, this is the area that we're going to aim for. We're going to aim for that river down there. Okay, so we're coming down, and he's as calm as you like. Obviously, he's talking himself through it as well.
Sure.
There is no fluster in the bloke. And he makes it and just lands literally on the rocky riverbed. And he goes, wow, we made it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it on WhatsApp.
Well, helicopters are... Number one, they've got too many moving parts for my liking, so they're dangerous to start with. But if you do have an engine failure, you can do this thing called auto rotation, and you basically come down like a sycamore seed.
That's what he does.
And you just have to make sure you come down fast enough to keep the rotors spinning enough so that when you get to the end, you've got enough inertia in the rotors to do a little flare and arrest the descent and plop, down you go. So it's quite safe. Similarly, in a light aircraft, if the engine fails, theoretically, providing you can find a field, you'll get it in the field and you'll survive, no problem. Providing you are calm. And if when you panic and do silly things, that's when it all goes wrong, because you can easily stall and fall out the sky and that sort of thing. But even when in those situations I talked about in the plane, the one coming back from Spain, I was with a guy that owned the plane. We'd been to his place in Spain, and we were both calm. I mean, we both knew we were in peril, but we were completely calm about it, and we were just, You hear this, but your training does kick in. The great thing with flying is most of the training is about dealing with problems you have in the air. So you've done it, you've simulated these things so many times, you pretty much know what you've got to do. And because your life depends on it, you're not going to ask about. You follow the procedures. So luckily, it works most of the time. I was quite surprised actually when we did get down and kiss the ground. We did sort of give ourselves a pat on the back how we didn't panic about it. Had we panicked, the guy in the back, that would have really made his day, wouldn't it?
I don't think you've told me that story, man. Jesus. I wish you'd got a Polaroid of you being inverted.
I tell you, I thought, good God, I'm going to die now next to this fat bastard. I couldn't believe it. I thought I never thought I was going to die next to him. But anyway, we didn't, luckily.
Esby, I've got a final question. What hair products works best for you? Moisturizer or beeswax? Very good. Very good. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Actually, I do a bit of moisturising on the old pate.
Andy, we have, I think, 9 more questions here. I'm aware of the time. What time have you got to go and get your daughter? It's 20 to 10.
Yeah, I can probably do another 20 minutes, then I've got to leg it to the airport.
Okay, in that
Get
case,
through what we can.
Yeah, give me a number between 1 and 9.
2.
Okay, 1, 2. Robert Forster. Sorry, I only saw the back of your head while listening to Richie Vida being interviewed at the ABR. Hopefully I'll get to see the front next year. Anyway, my sister
You must have been
stood
sitting
next...
in row 2.
My sister stood next to a well-known runner at the weekend that had a knighthood in front of his name. It got me thinking, why don't any of the folk at the ABR, for example, Ted Simon, Elspeth Beard, Nick Sanders, San Manicum, etc., have any titles? As surely they've put motorcycling and the British in a positive light. 100%, Robert, I totally agree with you. People like Ted Simon, Elspeth, Nick... Nick is, I mean, the stuff Nick Sanders, he's just mad as a box of frogs, but the things that guy has done, it's just stunning. Sam,
but it's like Michael Dunlop, isn't it, on the TT?
Yeah.
It's that, we don't. It just doesn't get recognised, does it? I don't know what it is. We know what colour the underpants of the goalie for England football's playing, but we don't know anything about Michael Dunlop being the, just taking the record of for the TT wins. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But I mean, I can almost see, I can kind of get why, folk like Dunlop and the sport bike racers, because it's just not the thing that the mainstream media, they don't want to promote motorcycle racing, do they? Mainstream media,
it's still got a bit of a hooligan element about it, isn't it?
Does. Yeah. But adventure overland travel, especially by the people like Ted and Elspeth and Sam, who did it. Ted and Elspeth, they did it back in the day when, not every person out there was doing it. These days, it's attainable for most people. You can get a loan, you can remortgage, you can work hard and save up, you can go and do it. Back in those days,
and you get a satellite phone and a GPS.
Yeah. Back in those days, there weren't even maps for some of the places that Ted and Elspeth and all them have been.
Isn't it?
There's no social media, there's nothing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, and they're nice guys as well, aren't they? Not that I know them
very
particularly,
humble.
but I did. In fact, Sam Manicom bought me a Guinness at the weekend as well. A lot of Guinness bought for me, and what a nice guy he is. I mean,
he's the nicest bloke you're ever going to meet.
Like I say, certainly not a hooligan, that's for sure.
He must slaughter puppies, Sam, because he is the nicest guy you're ever going to meet. There's got to be something there. He's genuinely one of the nicest people, nicest humans on the planet.
Well, he didn't say that. He slagged you right off, mate. But anyway.
Of course he did. I totally agree with you, Robert. I definitely think they deserve way more recognition. And sadly, I think they'll probably get that, when they've moved on to the next stage in life, shall we say. I think that's when it'll come. Okay, another number for me.
4.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Paul Brown. How you doing, Paul? Evening, gents. Hope you're both well. All good, thank you. My question. As you both
Paul,
know...
now you say that.
All right, list them, Andy.
We better go with the question.
My question. As you both now have hundreds of vids out there, what is the one vid you're most proud of, and what vid do you really wish had never seen the light of day? I'm not including Andy's that made it onto the dark web. Keep up the good work, gents. Vid you're most proud of?
That's quite. We've talked about bikes v planes. I still think that was one of the good ones we did. So I'm quite proud of that, just because it all came together. But I think actually for me, although again we talked about this earlier, it didn't get many views. My Japan tour took a lot of building, and I think actually turned out by the end episodes as the best tour I've ever done in terms of videoing and story and humour, etc. So I'm pretty proud of that. But not many people saw it, unfortunately. How about you?
I'm obviously immensely proud of the fact I did the world trip. I
was going to say that
I set my sight on something and I saw it through.
Yeah.
And I kept my promise. And that means everything to me.
Yeah.
But
that was a cracking set of videos. I was highly engaged into that.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
They were brilliant.
But I look at it now and just think,
It's a long time ago, though, wasn't it? I mean,
it was. Yeah.
At the time, it didn't seem like it was poorly produced or anything like that.
Yeah. 12 years ago, isn't it?
It was great. It was a brilliant watch. I thoroughly enjoyed looking forward to seeing that.
Okay, opposite end then. What's the one that you wish you'd never made?
Probably anything that Chopsy appears in. I don't know. I can't think of any, to be honest. I don't think any. I don't regret any. I mean, you wouldn't make them, would you, if they were going to be? I've got a few that I would like to have made that Carol's told me I couldn't because I would regret it. But
oh yeah.
Well, I was going to do one, for example, called Best Naked Bike Review. And it's going to be basically I'd be in the garage reviewing a bike stark naked, but I'd move. It'd be a nightmare of production. But the way I moved, there would be things in the way of the appropriate points all the time.
You've told me about this before. Do it.
I think it'd be hilarious.
Brilliant.
I think it'd be hilarious, but I've been vetoed. I'm told I can't do that one. Another one was I'd occasionally do things in Kit Corner where I'm in front of like a desk and I might be doing a review of a boot or something. I thought about doing that, but behind the desk, be wearing a skirt and suspenders or something, and then have a shot of behind me. I think, oh, that's
just for the video, obviously.
Exactly, but again, that was vetoed. So do not do that. So I haven't done that. And there are a few other ideas along those lines.
Andrew, you're your own man. You? Come on. Well, you're your own man. Do it.
I can't. I've been vetoed. What about you? Have you got any you regret or anything you'd like to do that's you've not dared?
I've got nothing that I regret that I've made. I kind of stand by the thing. If I've said it, I meant it, and
yeah, exactly.
My opinion might change at a later date, but at that time, that's what I meant. So I'm fine with that. Wish I'd made. I definitely want to. I've touched on this before in the podcast. I definitely have ideas where I want to move my channel to, and I want to change the style of the content a little bit. I've not found my thing yet.
Do you know what you're going to do in that?
No, not overly.
Or is it secret squirrel?
No. It's just I know what I want to. I know what I want the channel to be. I know what type of content I want to create, but I don't know, if you know what I mean. In that I know what I'm producing isn't what I want to be doing. It's not it yet.
Well, to be honest with you, Bruce, I'm struggling with this. You know what it wants to be, but you don't know what it wants to be.
Yeah, I phrased that wrong. I know what I don't want it to be, and that's what it currently is. Although I like the fact I promote a good positive message. I want the channel to promote the positive live your life message. I want the channel to inspire people, motivate people. I want it to, I get loads of messages. I had one today. I get loads of messages from people who are facing really tough times in life and they find some form of solace in the content. And I love that. I love that the content helps people. How you doing, Carol?
That's great,
you all right?
Oh,
yeah, I love that. So I don't want to lose that. How are you? But at the same extent, I kind of feel like I just feel a bit samey, like every other sort of motovloggy type channel out there. And I don't want it to be like, I want it to be different.
I know what you mean. The trouble is, I'm kind of the same. I mean, you're referring to bike reviews and stuff, I suppose.
Not just that. It's just
because everybody does them, and they're quite straightforward. We know you get the views and new subscribers by that, so they're sort of a necessary evil, aren't they?
If you want to stay in this particular niche, I'm maybe thinking about sticking a few tentacles out and just seeing how things do.
It's definitely worth the whirl, isn't it? I mean, I've tried it in the past with things like when I started my channel, I did flying videos and skiing videos. Nobody ever watched them, so I ended up binning them. But again, wouldn't it be great if you could do a channel that was just all your interests? I mean, it'd be. Yeah. So in my case, it'd be flying, skiing, caravanning. How about that? That would get a load of views, wouldn't it? Not. But maybe it would. I don't know. Maybe there are people that would like that sort of shite.
I want the channel to be more about this sounds really wanky, and I don't mean it to be. I don't mean it to come across the way it's going to. But I want the channel to be more about me and what I do in life, because that seems to be what impacts on people. My view of things and my outlook on life seems to be what people get something from. Do you know what I mean?
So you can be like a guru,
sense? No. That's what I mean.
I can see you sitting on a cushion in like a big tented arrangement in robes.
This is where I mean it comes across as being really wanky, and I don't mean it to be like that. But as in, like,
that sounds a bit wanky.
Like it does. But I like
I'm joking,
travel.
Mate, it sounds great.
Not always on a bike. You know, I've got a thing. I want to cycle around the UK, so I'll film when I do that because I'm going to do it. I'll film that, and I'm going to make.
There's nothing stopping you do that, is there? It's worth a try, isn't it?
Yeah. I've not set my sights on it, but I've got an idea about rowing the Atlantic. And again, I want to film. If I do that, I'll film that. You know, and there's lots of other little things that I want to do. And I would like to make content when I'm doing that, not always based around bikes.
I don't see why that wouldn't work, because people tune in to watch you at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I was meaning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like more vlog content rather than moto.
Yeah, no, I think that would go down a storm. I mean, whenever I just do a simple vlog, they always seem to go quite well. People always say you should do more of this stuff, and they're easy to do, aren't they? Because you're just having a bit of a random chat.
Yeah.
But I think that's the difference between what we've got going here on YouTube and what people like MCN or even Moto Bob have, who are more sort of professional journalist type approach. Is that people will tune into those because they want to learn about the bikes and the technology and so on. For us, it's not. It's that's the sort of shared interest, but it's different, isn't it? Not necessarily more than that, but it's because they like the person that's presenting. I like to think that anyway. That's what people tell me. So I'm sure you could build it on that, but like you say, it's quite difficult to see how that would go. But it's worth doing a bit of testing, isn't it?
It's a gamble, isn't it? We'll see. Yeah.
Just do a few things and see if they work.
1 to 8, next number. It wasn't 9, it's 8.
Let's go for 7.
All right, it'll make this the last one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mike Whiting. Hi, both. Hope all is good. Thinking of your travels, where would you most like to return to and ride again?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Do you want to go first on that?
I
can think of a few places.
Yeah, I can think of loads. There's loads.
There's too many to mention.
Japan.
But if you had to rank it.
Okay, rank it. Okay, then for riding, just for riding.
Well, is that the question? Is it for riding or overall?
Oh, good point.
Because for me, things like scenery
ride again.
Culture.
Yeah. Where would you like to return to and ride again?
Okay.
Okay. Out of everywhere I've been, do you know? And this isn't so much for the quality of riding, but riding is part of it. Russia, just because, like, it gets such bad press, obviously because of what Putin's doing and what's in the media at the moment. But genuinely, Russia was probably the biggest surprise of any country I've ever been to. It was awesome. The Russian people were amazing. The roads aren't nothing, they're pretty much straight for 1,000 miles, but the people were what made it for me, and the scale
I've
of
heard
the
you
country.
say that before, though, and I'm surprised by that, because are you talking about outside of the cities or all over, everywhere?
Everywhere.
Right.
Russians are so different to what we're used to here in the West. Russians.
I have to say, your experience is very different to mine in Russia. I went to St. Petersburg for a few weeks and I had a great time, and I'm really glad that I went there because it's not so easy to do now, is it? But I have to say, I found the Russians opposite of that. But I assumed it was just because we're in St. Petersburg, which is a big tourist town. And it was just, most big cities you go to, if you go to Paris or New York, you're not going to get the most polite people around, are you?
Yeah.
We were told things like by a Russian chaperone that we had, don't smile at people because they think you're stupid if you smile. If you don't look people directly in the eye. Don't be surprised if people spit on you. And we did get a bit of that stuff like that. So I found it quite the opposite.
I smiled at people. I looked people in the eye. I did all that. But the vast majority of Russians, when you first meet them, they were quite standoffish, almost abrupt.
Yeah, very solemn. Yeah.
But if they did hang around and interact with you, very quickly, they were almost overly friendly. Like people just welcomed you in and embraced you into their lives. Some just weren't interested. But I spoke with a Russian guy about this later on in traveling, and he said, with Russians, his exact words were, it's very easy for us. He said, if we like you, you're like a brother, your family. If we don't like you, he said, we take your blood, we kill you. And he sort of laughed when he said
they probably just hated me then. They must have seen me channel.
I don't know. genuinely, it might be your accent because you're very well spoken and overtly very English. So that I'm Scottish, so I do notice. I have a friend of mine that has a very, very, very posh English accent. He's very well spoken, privately educated, great lad like yourself, great boy. We go places and he will get a different reaction to I will. Because I'm Scottish. And I noticed on my travels, if people went, you English? And I go, no, I'm Scottish. And they automatically, it's like, Scottish, in you come. And I got
I'll have to start saying I'm Scottish then.
Yeah, Irish, whatever. I got a very good reaction in Russia, and literally had people inviting me into their homes, and I lived with folk for days sometimes. And I just loved my time there. Really loved my time there. Riding wise, best roads, Japan would be up there. South America, all over South America. Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised you said Japan for best roads. I mean, I did some good roads in Japan, and Japan was fascinating. But I mean, if you just want good roads, frankly, you can't do much better than Spain, can you? And also, even Wales is pretty hard to beat. There's some great roads there, and they're just on our doorstep.
Scotland. So, Scotland,
those are great places just for riding. But generally, to go back to the whole thing, for me, I really like Thailand. I must admit, I found those people super friendly. And again, roads, not necessarily great riding roads, although there were some, but scenery was amazing because the flora and fauna is so different to what we used to here. It's jungles and elephants as opposed to potholes and kids. So yeah, I really like Thailand. I'd like to go back there again. The food also I really enjoyed, unlike Japan where I really struggled with the food.
You didn't enjoy that, did you?
No, I mean there was a lot of similarities in the fact that the culture was totally different and you felt kind of alien and you felt like a visitor. But once you got into it, very much welcomed. The Thai people I found super friendly, as were the Japanese. So yeah, I think that for me that would be that. If it's pure riding, it'd probably be Norway. I really like Norway. Expensive, but fantastic riding, and again, lovely people. Just a bit chilly if you get the wrong time of year, I guess.
Yeah, that was
it's
another
a big
one
old world, isn't it?
Yeah, that was another one that was on the tip of the tongue, actually, Norway. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of world to discover out there, isn't there?
There certainly is. Right, dude, that'll do us. That's us just knocking on 10 o'clock, and I know you've got things to go and do. Dude,
well, thank you very much for coming on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been great. We shouldn't leave it so long next time. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to catch up.
We keep saying it. Mate, plug whatever you need. Shout out whoever you want. Over to you.
Oh, God. I haven't got anything to plug, to be honest, but keep watching Bruce is all I can say. One of the best channels out there. I don't watch that many channels, I have to say, but yours is one of the ones that I do.
Bollocks, you do.
It's true. 100%. You could give me a test on your content and I would score pretty highly.
Well, I can't even think of what I've got. Anyway, it's very kind of you. Folks, I'll leave all Andy's links down below, socials and his YouTube channel. If for whatever reason you haven't subbed, you haven't subscribed, check him out. If you like it, make sure you do.
Thank you.
Dude, thanks very much for coming on. Look after yourself. Folks, keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Hoo-ha!